we're small. Why are we small? I'm gonna make us bigger. I'm gonna make us
Tom
bigger.
Jones is an international treasure. That man's hip thrusts are so good.
There we go. I made us bigger.
Noted human tuber.
It's butter zone time. You know what that means. It's time for us to sit around and talk about the liquid, greasy joy that is our lives. Just a little bit of off-topic chat. And
I don't know why you said that.
we are the artery-hardening substances of life. That's all we have. Otto,
is it a problem that I'm allergic to dairy? That might be an issue.
Yes, this is a lactose-free zone. I'm afraid. Sorry. We hit 1,000 subscribers. We did it. We finally did it. We've hit that peak. We are now peak Star Trek entertainment. That is what we are now.
By the way, that intro music video gets us demonetized.
Yes.
So I put that together just for you.
We're
If we get enough views, it's gone. It's gone. We need our sweet YouTube money.
So we need to now go full shill mode. We need to get some sponsors. We need to get like product placements on the screen. We need to get.
I can't believe it's. Yeah, what are we doing? Margarine ads on this?
Yeah, margarine. Yeah, I can't believe it's not Butterzone. Yeah.
By the way, stars, good news. Since this video is already demonetized, we can say fuck as much as we want.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, how are we, gentlemen?
I was getting really fucking worried.
It is watermelon season, and I couldn't be happier. I had my first watermelon of the year this week.
I've never heard of it.
They're not
to as
perfectly
watermelon
ripe
season.
yet, but yeah. Some call it summer. I call it watermelon season.
I'm pretty sure we can get
Watermelon
watermelon all year
man.
round, can't you?
Nah, not here. Not in the middle of the U.S. where everything has to be shipped 3,000 miles.
I mean, the same for the
unripe
UK.
before it.
Not grown locally.
Well, you're right by the sea. Can't you fish for watermelon?
They float. We could throw some on our side. You'll get them eventually.
I thought you had to go bobbing.
Just keep
for
an
people.
eye out.
Brave
Message
divers.
Bobbing for watermelon.
Yeah, go diving head first into the water.
Hey, there's a charity donation goal.
I have to be real with you. Every time someone brings up watermelon, all I can think of is that bit from Simpsons where they go to Japan. And they've got a square watermelon, and then like Homer buys it, and then like he takes it away from the market, and then like 3 seconds later it's turned into a normal watermelon, and then he just drops it because he's really sad.
Incredible.
They apparently breed these like super strawberries over in Japan. They're like $20 per strawberry, but they're like the size of your fist, and apparently the flavor is out of this world. I've watched more than a couple videos on that, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so worth the money. These are the best strawberries ever." So I don't know what they do, but
the only thing we pay a premium for over here in America is a piece of meat.
That's right.
Get your vegetables and fruit out of here.
Actually, I have grilled watermelon before, and it's pretty good.
How do you grill? I mean,
caramelized?
Don't you cook it and just all of it just evaporates? Like it is water.
It holds its shape.
The whole point is the grill gets to such high heat that you can get it on for a quick sear. It brings all the flavor out. It's off the hook. Yep.
You definitely sound like repressed vegetarians right now. Like this sounds like searing cauliflower.
We made the change. My family is
technically.
yeah. We made the change. We're doing a lot less meat, partially just because it's so damn expensive. But yeah, I mean, veggies are pretty good, so we like them.
All right, where do you guys stand on lab meat? Because I am also cutting back for ethical reasons, and I've been trying like Impossible meat and the plant-based stuff.
Yeah, the plant-based stuff's a bit disappointing. Like a lot of the stuff I've had.
A little bit.
But I would eat lamb.
My kids. Yeah, my kids demand the Impossible burgers. They love them.
Really?
For some reason, they just hit all the notes. Yeah, it's great for us. Yeah, but
you're good, Dad.
I think that the Impossible burgers are kind of my limit. Like the more hands and the more money that goes into like R&D for things that I'm just going to wind up eating and excreting, just it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Just cut out the middleman. I don't want to. I'm not a big fan of hiring animals to digest my plants for me. I'll just eat the plants, and I'm not a big fan of having a scientist try to replicate the experience. Just whatever. I'm over it. But then again, that's me. Having bombarded my body. I did Atkins for something like 15 years. I've already done the damage. So
what does Atkins involve?
So that is a low carb diet. Nowadays they call it keto. But the whole point is that you don't eat any carbs at all for the period of time that I guess carbs were a villain. And yeah, apparently then they found out, oh wait a minute, all this processed meat is apparently killing all of us with cancer. So now the scale has swung the other way, and now carbs are great again. I don't know. I can't keep up with it, but no, yeah, I lost a lot of weight on that too. It worked for me. It doesn't work for a lot of people, but I didn't have a problem giving up pasta. Didn't eat a piece of bread for well over a decade.
Wow. What was that?
I can't imagine a life without bread.
No, I know.
Yeah, but speaking of the butters on, there was an awful lot of butter. You could have as much dairy as you wanted. It was all pretty good.
So all the fat and processed meats you want.
Yeah, that's it.
Eat
Yeah,
as much
100% fat.
cheese as you want. Become cheese.
Become one with the
There's a
cheese.
rhyming poll up in chat, folks, if you want to let us know what you think about Dan's new catchphrase of eat and excrete.
Eat and excrete. We live to eat and excrete and make some damage upon the world. That's humanity for
I
you.
think sugar's the biggest villain, and it catches the least flack. Like fat catches more flack, and carbs catch more flack, but it's really sugar, high processed stuff.
I don't know. I feel like there's been a bit of a war, especially over here. Like there's the whole. Do you guys have a sugar tax in America?
That's like by state or by city. Some I
Yeah.
think New York City has one for.
They do for soda and sugar,
Yeah.
sugar treats. But here it's
Because every time
subsidized.
I-
We actively, because we grow sugar and we produce it. We pay the companies to make
I think
more
we do
sugar.
as well,
So it's the
actually.
opposite here.
Mm.
I think we're
Oh,
But
yeah,
you have
big-
one
big
in
corn
Britain. Do you have one
subsidies.
that's like
Mm.
is blanket for the entire country? Is that what I understand? Or like there's a sugar
Yeah,
tax there?
basically, if you go into like say if I want to get a McDonald's or whatever, and I want like a Coke or whatever, it will literally break down exactly which drinks are
Mm.
sugary and what exactly you're paying in sugar tax as additional to what you'd
Wow.
normally be paying. And it's not a massive difference. I think like 21 pence or something like
Yeah,
that
it's
for
not
a normal Coke Classic over a diet, but
Is that why you
it is
drink diet?
noticeable. Well, to be fair, that's because if I didn't drink sugar-free soda, I probably would have died like 10 years ago. So you know, probably wouldn't have teeth anymore. And now I just I don't like full fat sugar soda anymore. Like I taste normal Coke, and I'm like, this tastes gross. I can taste the sugar.
I love how that's become a phrase in the UK recently. Full fat Coke. Like, I don't know where it's come from. But it's like you got Diet Coke, you got full fat Coke. Yeah, I've heard that in so many places.
Well, because
I
there's
love
like 4 different types of Coke, and only one of them has full sugar anymore. Because
Yeah.
there's normal Coke,
it. Oh,
there's
Coke
Diet, and
Zero.
then there's Zero, and then there's Life as well, which I actually don't. I don't mind Life. They
you
don't
got
do it
the
anymore. I
and
don't think.
have you ever tried the caffeine and sugar-free one? The one in the
Oh, God,
gold
what can you-
cans.
Oh no!
They're
Shut up! Fuck
horrible. I
off.
had one once. I was like, this is
What's the
just
point?
foul. What exactly? Yeah, you just drink.
Just
vegetable
drink
soup.
water.
At least
Yeah,
give me the
exactly.
caffeine. At least give me the caffeine.
All this
Like
effort going
I
into
drinking this
18
for?
drinks. Just drink water, people.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not going to judge someone for drinking full fat sugar like
I
soda,
will.
'cause guess what?
No, I had one today.
but I
because
so often
yeah,
find that
I don't drink
it's
fizzy
the
drinks
taste
that
is what
often.
does it for me.
Yeah, I don't drink them that often. Like I will always have water or mostly coffee or decaf coffee. To be fair, so whenever I
Did
do
I have-
have a fizzy drink, I will have like a full Coke or like a fully sugary one. So
Did I have Coke stocked for you, Finn, when you came over? I think I did.
I think you did. Yeah,
I
and
think
I
that
was
was
fine
like
with
the only Coke I bought in 7 years was when I knew you were coming. I bought some.
Your Coke fueled
Yeah, it's not-
adventures, yes. They're
it.
living.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they were definitely that. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it varies by the taste. Like I know people who can't stand Pepsi Max. I know people who can't. I can't stand Diet Coke. I can't stand taste it at all. Coke Life was nice because it was kind of like a full fat soda, but you could taste that it wasn't full fat. It was like more natural sugars. I think was the gimmick behind that. But I think they've given up on selling that. I can't find it anymore.
I remember the best Coke I ever had. It's a singular moment.
Columbia.
It
Shows
was
you
right
how
off a
Dan-
credit card.
Venezuela.
So we were in Vegas on the Vegas Strip, and we were on a very extreme budget.
Hmm.
And so anything free we could sign up for. We would sit through 2 hours worth of timeshare presentations just to get tickets to not Stomp, but the Stomp imitators.
Stump.
Stomp. So out on the Strip in 120-degree 0% humidity weather, there was one little kiosk of a dude giving out for free because they had just launched Coke Zero, and we just basically spent the entire day walking back and forth past this. We had never. It was the first time they had launched it. It was just I guess they had the first time with a new sweetener cocktail they put into that stuff, and And man, that hit just right. It was so hot, and that was our beverage. So yeah, that sold us for a while. We were on a Coke Zero run for a long time after that. But that first hit, man, it gets you.
I'm curious
never
to
forget your
what
first.
Coke would have tasted like, the first one with cocaine in it. Like, what would that have tasted like? It's mad to think.
You know, I'm curious. Let me see if there's actual historical source.
I thought you were going to go say, is there any on eBay?
Oh, I could order this stuff. I'm just gonna make it. Let me get some of the precursors. I'll be back.
Yeah. Give me 5 minutes in a fermentation machine and I'll be there.
I just need to titrate.
Well, when it comes to dairy products, I'm always full fat. So, either puddings or ice cream or whatever, you gotta go whole milk with that. Otherwise it ends up
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna ingest something unhealthy, I'd rather it taste the best possible.
we used to, well, my wife likes like the we call it red milk, and it's like 1% or whatever, and it's just because I hate it. It's just like
It's
it's
the
like white,
color of the carton it comes in. Yeah,
it's white water essentially. But we used to get the milkman. We used to
Oh.
get the milkman come the rounds, and I used to say, look, I need one of full fat for the kids. You get one of full fat, and you have the little bit of cream on top. I never knew this was a thing until we had like milk bottles. But you get that little bit of cream in the top of the bottle that you could just scoop out, and I was like, hey, I just used to feed it to the kids like, as they're waiting for it. But that was so nice. So who
Here you
wants
go,
the cream?
kids. For doing good.
Pull
Um,
up in chat, folks. Who are we firing
so-
our Coke torpedoes at?
Apparently, a YouTuber tried to replicate the original Coke recipe as closely as he could. He had to make a couple substitutions for the Coke extract, which is illegal, and neroli oil, which is too expensive nowadays. Apparently, it is sweeter than Coke, with
Oh
less
my God.
bite and with a strong lime aroma, but recognizable as cola,
Interesting.
which is interesting. I
wonder
think
how-
I'd want to give it a shot, but
I didn't know. The
So-
real one or nothing. Don't give me substitutes.
I have a most minor of pet peeves, which is when someone makes something key lime, but they use regular limes, because key
So what-
lime obviously tastes
yeah, that's very
different.
different. Yeah,
What is a key lime then, as opposed to like a lime?
Well, so I
Is
think
it the
they're
zest?
I don't know if it's like a strain or how much where you grow it has an impact, but I know like in the States they're growing a lot down in Florida. And
Welcome
it
to
has just, it
conversations we
has a
should be
different
Googling.
flavor. Dude, it's the butter zone, so
Yeah, that's fine.
we're gonna talk about food and
Yeah, we are.
And if we don't know the answer, we'll
like
just make.
like Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. It's like the difference between a potato and a sweet potato. Guess what? They may be both potato, but like they taste completely different. Like,
Tale of
As
two tubers.
lime, key lime. You call it a different thing for a reason.
Hmm.
I would hope.
I have now done
Otherwise you'd
the parents' tactic to getting vegetables in your kids, and because now my oldest comes down and goes, so what we have for
Or
dinner?
just
I'm like,
shoving them inside them.
Not quite, almost in a way. But he goes like, what we have for dinner? I'm like, we're having sausages and potatoes and broccoli. And they do all the things like, right. Tomorrow we're gonna have pasta. Okay, we'll have pasta. Won't be any vegetables in it. Won't there? No, it'll just be pasta and sauce. But I'm there. I'm cooking up
Dude.
the leeks. I'm cooking up the broccoli. You know what I'm whizzing into
Lasagna.
the tomato sauce? Then you
Yeah.
go, yum yum yum. It's like, hey, you're eating vegetables.
yeah.
The kids got veggie enchiladas the other day. It was mostly broccoli
Mm.
with this beautiful crown that we got. Broke it down till it was just like all the florets just become powder. Yeah, we wore the crown, and yeah, the kids they yummed it up because what are the flavors you're looking for in an enchilada? It's the enchilada sauce,
Mm.
a little
Yeah.
bit of burrito wrapper here and there, and then
Yeah.
maybe like a spot of cheese, but yeah, no, they had no idea what was inside of it, and they didn't care. They just ate it all.
Yeah, so it's
Makes you
fine if
sorry.
they don't know. If as long as it looks good, then they're like, yeah, I'll eat that. It's when you get older and you become. I find. Well, sometimes you become a pickier eater. I kind of started off not picky, got extremely picky, and then have slowly been unlearning that pickiness as I've grown older. But I don't know. Maybe I have a weird trajectory with food.
I like lentil bolognese because the lentils will fill you up, give you that sort of meaty chew, but the bolognese, the flavor makes you think that there's going to be some kind of meat involved.
That's an issue I have with like corn, because we had our vegetarian patch when my son decided he wanted to be a vegetarian, so we did it for about a month. So yeah, that was my issue with things like corn, because it goes like, it's a meat substitute, but like I would rather just not have the substitute and just have something else, because this doesn't taste like meat. Like I would rather say I'm making a vegetable pasta, not a fake bolognese pasta. Like that makes more sense to me. But
All right, so we had this conversation on this stream before, but corn on pizza, yes or no?
no,
Never heard of it.
Not for me.
no,
Yeah.
I don't really like sweet corn.
Corn on tacos, yes. Corn on pizza, no.
Well, aren't tacos normally on corn tortilla anyways?
Yeah,
so
then you throw more corn on it, and then it's
Yeah,
more,
so I'm
more
saying it- you
American.
sh-
Yeah.
you shouldn't mind it.
What about tacos on pizza? Can we do that?
Tacos.
That's brilliant. You just
Tacos
invented the
for
next
lunch.
new craveable.
Dude, there was a place before I moved from New York, made a great taco pizza. Tons of shredded lettuce, like
Okay.
8 inches of full fat mozzarella. So it was really cheesy pizza. And
Jesus
then,
Wait,
fuck.
not really, but and then ground beef, seasoned ground beef, and sliced tomatoes. It was so good. It was
wow.
better than
my-
taco or pizza.
I had my very first breakfast pizza this morning. My wife wanted to go out to Golden Corral, which is your American buffet here with just all American foods.
Sneeze guard.
It's primarily because of my kids, yes. And but no, they always have the pizza station, and for breakfast apparently they do a breakfast pizza. So they throw it's like instead of a sauce, it's like the sausage gravy they used to throw on biscuits. And on top of that is cheese and scrambled eggs and a little bit of sausage on it. It worked. It was edible. It was strange. You're expecting a certain taste when you have a piece of pizza in front of you, but it was fine.
Mm.
I've had a lot of breakfast pizzas, and I've never been impressed or disappointed with any of them. They were exactly what I expected going in.
Breakfast pizza.
When I front against man and God, yeah, that sounds about right.
Introduced my son to an all-you-can-eat. Well, both my children. I have 2 children. I must keep reminding myself of that. To the all.
And your wife has 3.
Yes.
You're really not helping your case against Shy saying you never see your kids when you say stuff like that.
Yes. Anyway, we took them to a Chinese buffet for the first time and said all you can eat, and said they went out and got a
Ooh,
plate,
yeah,
and then they
yeah.
came back and they were like, "You can go get more." What? You can help yourself. Have whatever you want, and just like that slow that scene out of Ratatouille where the guy eats something and you get the Hitchcock camera zoom straight to his
Yeah.
face, like his eyes just widened and he didn't even say a word. He just picked up his plate and just ran to the food. He had 3 desserts that.
Yeah, no, guess what? Like, if you've never had all you can eat or like a buffet or whatever, the idea that you can just go back for more is wild.
Yeah, because he was.
What do whatever you want.
He was 2.5 when my littlest was born, and so he was born during as COVID hit. So a year after he was born, COVID hit. So all you could eat buffets just went. They disappeared. And it's only recently they've sort of started cropping back up again, or at least near us. So there's also now a all you can eat breakfast place, which has also me very excited. Because if someone says you can have as many sausages, bacon, and eggs in any combination you want, I'm like, yes, please.
How many hash browns do you want? Oh, love that.
I went on a stag do, and we stopped for breakfast. We started at breakfast, and we stopped at this all-you-can-eat breakfast place. And the guy there was just like, "Yep, can I have 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 sausages, and 10 hash browns, please?" I was just like, "What?"
All right, that's a bit much, buddy.
Yeah. They just literally lined them up like that.
The only reason those workers are there is for people who have shame so that they'll eat less. But if you can get over that, you can request whatever you want.
Oh, yeah.
We should save this conversation for the World Central Kitchen charity fundraiser we're doing a week from now.
This is, yeah. This is a
That might be a
donation
slightly poor taste.
Actually, I'll always remember there's a scene in King of Queens where if you know the lead from that show is kind of a hefty guy. They go to Vegas
James,
and
yeah.
and they lose all their money, but then he goes to the comped buffet. He's like, I'm gonna get all my money back at this buffet.
That's a sunk cost
So-
fallacy if I ever heard one. Yeah.
Is there? Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say.
I was gonna say there. I was noticing with the prices, of buffets. You mentioned a lot of them closed during COVID. Not around here. They all seem to be open, just
Weird.
minimally. So, but the prices went through the roof because the supply chains were
Yeah.
disrupted, and just the cost of labor went through the roof too. And but now we've noticed that the prices are coming down, and it was tough for a while. Our kids love that stuff, and it was tough to get out of any buffet for less than $100 around here. And now things have gotten, they've gotten. I mean, so it was like a birthday treat, and that's all we could do. And we went back recently, and now it's like half of what it was. It's back. You used to think of it as the cheap food, right? You could get as much Chinese food as you could ever want, and you wouldn't break the bank. And it's finally getting back there. So I wonder if that's a good barometer of inflation, is to look at the prices of the Chinese
I mean,
buffets.
yeah,
If
you're
we
not
could use
wrong.
that as an indicator, economic indicator.
Well, I mean, you've got the Waffle House indicator as well, right?
Yeah.
There's
Like
the
that.
Big Mac
There are
index, I think.
various,
Yeah.
Overtired too. It's not going to happen with cars or other durable goods that they have a monopoly
No.
on. They are in profit taking mode right now. But I think for any space where there's competition, there's an invisible hand, and we're actually seeing that in real time. It's like we'll go back. 3 months will pass, and we'll go back, and it's still like another $10 or $20 cheaper than it was, and it's funny to see it happen unfold.
speaking of McDonald's, I saw a video today, about half an hour ago actually, before we came on, and there's literally a woman got a Burger King Big Mac, and she's like, look at this, and she held up the patty, and it was so thin, and she goes, I bet the pickle's thicker than this, and she picked up the pickle from the thing, and the pickle was thicker than the patty. That she goes like, I'm paying $10 for this. Like, what the hell?
You could see through the patty because
Yes.
I also saw the same video.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the one sitting in a car. We spend too much time on Reddit.
How
I
dare
used to
you.
complain that you rub the patty on the greasy paper and you could see through the paper. But you just see through everything. It's just
Hello,
invisible.
everybody. Hey, Dr.
And
Nick.
it goes right through you too.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Back to eat and excrete.
Hey.
Yeah.
We're starting at the top and working our way to the bottom.
This is how we bypass the censors.
We're not technically violating any rules, just good taste.
Just
That's
violating
all way.
good taste, yes.
All right, let's hit up the first of two tiering sessions because this one is an uplifting one. I
Let
think.
me just check my layout before I bring it on. I've just been doing a little Oh, actually, bloody hell. I don't need to do anything. Holy hell, it works straight away. Wow. Except the window.
Professionalism on my stream
almost
is less
professionalism.
likely than you think.
I nearly did that. What are we doing, Otto? We're tiering.
the best things about summer.
Oh,
Which this is a short one, so it doesn't have everything included.
I've got a
It's
different-
Is
in the
every
DM
single
I
answer
sent you.
watermelon? Yeah.
You
You
said
No,
it.
but that is one of them.
You sent me something? Hang on. Oh, the one above here. Hang on. Yes, you did. That was ages ago.
Classic idol.
We've played Magicka since then. Here we go. The best things about
Snatching
summer.
defeat from the jaws of victory.
He's not used to someone putting an effort more than 5 minutes ahead of time. So if I send him something earlier in the week, it's gone from his head.
It literally
So,
is. We've had like a whole drunk stream since then.
That's true.
Best things about summer. Wow.
Which, if you guys missed that, that's actually a hell of a fun game, Magicka. If you've
It's a great
if you've
game.
had one or two, or if you're not great at video games, it is chaos.
One small exception. How many times did our game crash?
Well, yeah, but
North of 10. I'm
it's
definitely
a
sure.
$2 game.
Yeah. Where should we start?
By the way, I propose, since these get a little heated, the tiering sessions, maybe we all get one automatic vote, like a veto. Like if you really
the
want
Sovereign class
something and
starship is
ask.
an S tier ship.
No, it's not retroactive.
Damn it.
It's still an A tier. But just a thought. Maybe that would cut
still
down
on
on some of the friendship splintering that goes on these streams.
Because it's been 4 years.
Or
and we're
not.
still here.
No, I'm alright with it. I'm alright with an automatic guest here. I feel like I'm okay with that. I feel like or an automatic veto. As you
Yeah,
said.
automatic. D tier.
I don't know. I
All
feel
right.
like if it's going to be
Kick us
automatic,
off,
it's going to
Idle.
sit in B, but that's just me. Can we tier the tiering tiers? And then we'll have a veto
No.
on that. Okay, no
I don't know. B tier is my favorite D tier.
mind.
Think about that for a moment.
Mm,
Right, so
we got?
best things about summer, huh?
mm. The beach.
The beach.
The beach.
Um,
Son of a
That's
beach.
S tier for me. I love the beach. I'll go
So,
swimming every day if
don't-
I can.
I live a stone's throw from
don't-
the beach, and I never go. We occasionally go down there with the kids, but
Well, you have kids, so I guess that's a little bit more.
But it's different.
hassle.
I've always lived near the coast, and I've always kind of taken walks along the beach, and it's always been like, "There's the sea, great. Here's all the
You're
holiday
such
makers."
a great
Oh, cool.
fan.
I'm gonna come out with something controversial yet brave.
So brave.
I hate sand. It's rough and coarse, and it gets everywhere.
I'm not a big sand fan. I'm less of a sand fan now that but they're in every shoe I own, and every carpet
Yeah.
is infested with them. My car mats are constantly sand ridden.
But this
Well,
is my point.
It's less the beach, more the water. I don't like sitting
no.
out and getting
Well,
sun, but I like swimming at the beach. So
Well, so here's the thing. What you put up in the poll at Waggy of Vacation to Crete. So the place that we often go to has a pontoon. So just like this long like plastic, basically kind of like diving thing. You just come from the hotel, walk along this thing, and then just dive straight into the water. Guess what? That shit's lit. That means I don't have to worry about the beach. If we're talking about the water, guess what?
The
I've
water.
completely supplanted the need for the beach. 'Cause I
Uh-oh.
don't want to sit. I don't want to sit on the beach and like fucking taking sun. Because guess what? I'm pasty as fuck. I don't do that. I hate getting sand on me because it gets everywhere and it's impossible to get off. Even if you get like an ice cream or whatever, guess what? Sand's going to get in it and ruin it, and suddenly you're eating sand. Guess what? There's nothing about the actual beach that I personally enjoy. But the water, guess what? That's automatic S tier. So like for me, beach is like a B.
Well, but water's part of the beach. You go to the beach in summer and you swim.
Yeah,
so-
but there's
I
ways
would
to get to
argue
the
the
water that
water-
don't involve the beach.
Yeah, the water is mutually exclusive from the beach. The beach is the beach. You can
All
have
right,
water.
the water
anywhere.
then. Let's vote for water.
The water
'cause
is
it's supposed to be
clearly
uplifting.
50% of the picture that's in.
I like the water at the beach because there's something about the waves crashing on the sand, and especially if you get a nice
Oh,
cold
yeah,
winter's
yeah.
day and we go out for a walk and it's like, you know, bracing winds against your face and you're staring out at the sea, contemplating your life and wondering, is it all worth it? Then those moments are like, I live in my head rent free. But yeah, and stone thrones in the water. Who doesn't love doing that? Pick a stone from the beach and, you know, you chuck it, try and catch it under the wave. You score. I had a game with my cousins once where you score different points depending on where in the wave you get the stone. If you can catch the stone as the wave comes over and crashes it, that's 10 points. That's the best way you can do it. But if you just flop it in the water, 1 point. Get out of here. Play games on the beach.
What the hell are you talking about?
It's a British thing.
The waves on the beach. You know, you have waves, right?
You also said stowing thrones.
Throwing
instead
thrones
of
in the water.
throwing
Thrones in the
stones.
water, yeah.
Stowing
Like you're-
thrones.
Is that not
You're
what you
hiding
think
royal
of thrones?
It's one of
Does
those
everyone
weird
not have a
British
throne?
things, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah,
you stow
bagels
your
and mash
throne.
and stowing some thrones.
Yes.
All right, so summer hits and you go swim at the beach. Tier that for me, please.
That's better.
All right, yeah, that's an S tier. But like just the beach on its own, like I don't like if we ever go to the beach, I don't want to be on the beach. I want to be in the water immediately. That's my comment.
So, Stas, you can tell who lives
Alright.
near the nice tropical seas that are probably in the Gulf Stream because we're on the North Sea and you're not going swimming in that. It is cold as fuck.
Well, if it's like a sweltering summer's day, then guess what?
cold
Taking
as
a dip
fuck.
in that is alright. That's fine.
There's a lot to unpack here, and I'm going to unpack it for you now.
Dude, we're never getting through. By the way,
Can you
there's
unpack my
54
thrones as well?
items for the next
Okay.
tiering session.
Okay.
54. Go ahead.
All right. But I have to say what I have to say. So, growing up, when you're a child and you're at the beach, it is the best. It's automatic S tier because you don't have to worry about logistics. And these are the things that are taken care of for you. So there's a bell curve, right, where it starts. It's a inverse bell curve, where at the beginning it's S tier at the beginning of your life. Is this coming off right? Hold on, let me check the stream.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I'm on the wrong
Yeah,
side. I gotta go to the
okay,
correct
okay.
side for the stream because I'm
Yeah.
mirrored here. Okay. All right, we got it. All right, so here's S tier when you're like 8 years old and just there's just nothing but upside and ice cream and being in the surf all day long. And then there's that whole middle area from like being like, and maybe like when you're 18 and you've got, you know, your best girl at the beach, your best boy at the beach, and then you start to hit middle age and it just sucks. This entire time it sucks. It's hot. You get sand in your vagina, and it's just the whole thing is just a big hassle. And
Or
then
whatever folds you may have on your body.
and then you hit all
Mangina.
the folds, and then you hit my age where you rediscover metal detecting, and now all of
Oh.
a sudden
Ah,
To the
midlife
moon.
crisis. Okay, I got you.
so I think it has to average out at
Dan,
a
have you
B.
been watching a lot of the Detectorists?
I go down rabbit holes too.
Yes, the metal down there. Yeah.
Dude, I'm at the supposed bottom of the bell curve age-wise, and I've never had more fun at the beach. If I have a day off, you just drive to the beach, you swim for like an hour and a half, and then you go home, and you feel great the rest of the day. But I don't have kids, so I think that's the difference.
You know, I'll meet you halfway and I'll say A tier for the beach.
That sounds like an A. I can agree on an A.
I think since you ambushed me with all the sand and other crap, I'm just like, yeah, swimming. Let's put that in the tiering.
If it were just swimming, guess what? I
All
put that as SSS tier. Like, just
Yeah,
give me
I'll go
like
with A.
triple S, like smoking sexy styling, like freaking like. But like, no, just the beach on its own. No.
Okay.
A
Barbecues.
grilling, yes, barbecue.
Ooh, okay,
Yes.
yeah, no, this
Summer
is an S
barbecue.
tier for me.
Fuck yeah.
S
give me
tier.
Bob.
Grilling pineapple and watermelon.
Well,
Best
guess
way to
what?
have-
I feel like I would be ejected from the stream if I didn't give it an S tier, given how fucking top tier autos like barbecues were.
Mm.
Pretty good.
Oh, hang on.
Pretty
We've got a
good.
rogue Frank. Frank's hit. Oh. Here he is. Hello.
Huckleberry Frank.
Now hold on a minute. I will not hear this negative besmirching of sand. There's nothing more pleasant than getting sand in your various folds, in your shoes, all over your bag, in your car. You go home, you unpack, Sand's everywhere. It's there 3 weeks later when you run across it. Getting it in your glasses, getting it on your phone, getting it in places you didn't know you have it. Having small children that attempt to eat sand, having a pet that defecates or urinates on the sand, or maybe it's a human, who knows. I will not hear bad things about sand. There are so many redeeming things about sand. Let's talk about it.
Bro, if you're gonna pop in, at least stay for the rest of the
Yeah,
stream.
get back in here, Frank. I'll leave it like
No, that's all the material he's got.
All right, we've got 65 more items here, so let's
Okay.
take this long for all of them. Grilling, Dan, kick
S
us
tier for
off.
sure.
Yeah, so my favorite item to grill is corn on the cob. It's roll it up. Well, first you soak the entire cob in the husk in some water,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and then leave it there. Walk away, do other stuff, come back to it. Wrap it up in tin foil. Each one of them individually. It steams inside the foil.
Bit of butter in there.
It gets no
Oh, you don't?
butter.
Bro,
You don't need it. It's all
name of the
natural
show.
sweetness.
Name
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the show.
Sorry. This is the no
Yes.
butter zone when I'm
He adds
grilling
butter.
corn on the cob. You can put it on afterwards if you want, so you can get the salt to stick to it later on, which is great. But no, there's so much sweetness in it. They're just like flavor bombs. Best way to have it. So yeah, just for that alone, S tier.
Dude,
I've
I
been-
grew up with a cornfield in my backyard, but it was cow corn because he was growing it for the cows. And let me tell you, there's a difference between cow corn and sweet corn, and I learned that as a kid when I stole an ear from the farmer. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm never stealing this corn again.
I want a refund for the thing I stole.
So the you laugh, but the UK is a big nation of barbecuers, but not in the way you might think. In that, anytime the sun decides it's going to peek its head around from the clouds and grace us with a good day, everyone gets their barbecues out. But the problem is, we are terrible at cooking barbecues. Mostly, we'll buy the cheapest burger from the supermarket. You'll see it every time people go out. They'll wheel out loads of sausages, burgers, and they'll go out and then they'll come out. And I've been to so many barbecues where I've just had like black burgers and just like terribly greasy sausages and everything.
Oh.
Chicken is just like really seared on the outside, but the inside is like, no, that needs to
Yeah.
go back on. So I'm a better barbecuer than that because I've just been to so many bad ones. But yeah, you see it like on the council estates. Everyone's got their little tiny trays out, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna cook some bad sausages.
The funny thing is, you say that my mum jumped in about like an hour ago and was complaining about apparently there was like 12-inch like flames like at the back of our like wall over because someone just couldn't grill properly. It's like, guys,
What are
proper
they
flame
doing? Yeah.
control, please.
Like, you see someone said, like, oh, I'll just get the paraffin. Like, oh no, I'm leaving this barbecue right now. You don't need that.
So for
Why
me,
do that?
grilling also comes with the camaraderie of friends or
Mm.
neighbors, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
find elevates the experience. And I never make. You always got to make enough for leftovers.
Yes. Oh,
possibly
you make
for a
too
few
much
days.
always. Yeah.
So the experience is stretched
Yeah.
out over a while. So I think all the different elements combined for
I guess that's too.
S tier.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also gave us one of the funniest Simpsons jokes ever, where like you have
You don't make friends with salad.
Homer is just like constantly like squeezing all that oil or whatever it is
Yeah,
into the
I love
thing
that one.
It's over and over. They just light it on fire, and this nuclear explosion goes off.
Oh no!
So-
isn't
I
there the
thought-
opposite? They do that joke again, where he does it. He squeezes it and squeezes it and squeezes it, and he puts the
Yes.
latch in, and it just goes.
It lights
Just-
perfectly.
Yeah, it just does it perfectly. It's
Yeah,
like an
I was gonna
anti
say
joke.
they do that joke all the time in like Looney Tunes. That's a pretty old joke,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I can see Simpsons.
And then you get the amazing Simpsons remix where Bart grabs that can of Duff and then he puts it in that little shaking thing, like it's like some kind of like centrifuge, I think. He just watches it like bounce up and down, and then like he watches Homer open up the fridge. He cracks it and he's like April, and then
Yeah.
nuclear
Blows the house up.
explosion. Yeah, exactly. Just
Uh,
fucking crack me up every time. Like
Where's
I
Garrett?
was just going through a rabbit hole of classic Simpsons jokes on Twitter the other day, all because the Planet of the Apes movie has got everyone talking about the Dr. Zaius musical.
yes.
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. That's the one.
Chimpanzee.
Chat, we need your input, by the way, on these tiers. We may or may not consider them as we.
Yeah. I should put
Put
some
the
text on
little
screen,
images
actually, what
in
we're
the
definitely
boxes.
doing. Oh, I'm being rung. I'm being telephoned. Why am I being
What
telephoned?
year is it?
It's Frank
Tell
again.
me
Put
what's
him
my
on.
Dad.
dad
Hang
doing.
on.
Yeah.
I'll be back. You guys carry on.
Ask him his opinion on grilling.
How dare
Right,
you
well, while he's doing that,
choose his father over us? What the hell? All right.
how dare he?
Was
What's
it
the next
Father's
thing?
Day?
No, it's Mother's Day, I think. I meant.
No, but it was. Wait, is it today? a couple days ago in Germany, it was Father's Day. 'Cause
Okay.
I sent a message to one of my buddies. All right, Stars, you have semi-recent experience with this one. Number 3 on the list. We'll decide without idle. Hiking. When it starts to heat up and you take long walks, or hiking in the woods. What's your vote for tiering hiking?
It depends on how much pollen is in the air. If there's a lot of pollen, then I'm dying. And I don't appreciate it. You know for a full fact that I had to get medication for that when I came over to see you. But if the countryside is lovely and the company is especially lovely, as one of my recent hiking buddies was, then that's an easy S tier. But I feel like it's between A and S. Like a good hike is fun. Good walk. Racing.
I like hiking up my pants. up over the belly button is best.
All right, for the remainder of these, let's pretend we don't have allergies or kids, and that we're able to just enjoy these activities.
Oh, we live in the wonderful world, yeah.
So here's the reason why it's hiking is a C tier, and the reason is mosquito season just hit here. And we have our first mosquito bites of the season while we've been outside. So hiking in cold weather is fantastic. But especially where I'm at right now, our climate, we only get like truly cold weather for a few months out of the year. So walking, getting sweaty, not my favorite part. The bugs are not my favorite part, but I do like being out in nature, but most of the time it doesn't want me there.
He's got a point.
Yeah, well, see, it's tough because standing water is also kind of a fun part of going a hike. You go to the pond or whatever, but that means mosquitoes, so... I mean, I personally love it, but I can see all the drawbacks to it. So I'd probably go A tier personally, but
Let's sign off on an A tier unless Dan wants to use his
it
veto.
also helps.
No.
Stars, you remember how beautiful, gorgeous the countryside was where I lived. Hills in all directions. The view helps a lot. If you're flat, you're not going to enjoy really going on walks as much. So, all right, I say A. What do you guys say?
I could see the point. I can see.
I'm right with an A. I'm right with an A on that.
Hold on. You said C though, Dan.
I did, but
okay. So are we going B? Are we going to land in B?
Yeah, you guys are firmly in A territory.
Well, that's you got to average it out,
So B plus is
B. That's still B. Actually, you can sort it within the tiers. So we'll go top of B for when he comes.
Okay, I'll upgrade. I'll make it easy. I will upgrade my rating to a B because you don't need equipment to hike. You just need to get out there, and that's fair. A lot of other outdoor activities, you got to figure out how to rig up the kayak to the top of your car or whatever the hell else. So yeah, no, I'm okay with upgrading to a B, which will average to an A. So you can. Do you see what I did there? Yeah. So.
He's so diplomatic, isn't he? I can't believe it. It's not like we're talking with Idle, where he just digs his heels in and goes and talk to his dad for a minute. It's like,
that's why I had to add the veto because he's maniacal with power. He's like, no, I really like it. I'm putting it here. All right, next one up. Long days. So daylight savings, all that junk. You don't have these 5-hour days like you do in winter. Sun is up all the time. I personally really enjoy that.
I mean, as a night owl, I don't really have any strong opinions, but I'm happy with a long day. Like, I do appreciate, having a nap and waking up and it's still light outside. That's always a nice feeling, which you don't get in winter at all.
I'm not a fan of driving in the dark, especially around where I'm at.
What about dancing in the dark?
What about dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight?
I feel like I could care less any place where there is ambient electrical lighting, so it doesn't really matter. But when I'm out driving, it has a big difference. And just for safety and reasons of pragmatism, long days, I think I'd have to give an A tier.
Are you more downtown where you live?
Yeah.
Because I think Stars, you're right in London, yeah.
I am in the middle of the most light polluted and other kinds of polluted cities in the world.
See, I don't have to deal with that. So I like, when it's 8 o'clock and you can still see outside, I feel like I haven't wasted my day. But when you have 3 hours of sunlight and it goes down to like 4 o'clock, you're like, damn, there's nothing to do now. I'll go have dinner, then go to bed at 6 or something. So,
but video games,
I tire easily. I'm in the middle of the bell curve, as Dan pointed out. So
you gotta go this way, otherwise.
That's right.
I'll probably sign off on an A tier on a long day. I appreciate a good long day, and like I said, like having a nice having a a good strong start to the day, having a nap, and then waking up and it's still light outside. There's something a bit magical about that.
Hello,
Hello.
sorry about that. That was my dad.
All right, hiking is the bottom of A tier, so throw that
Bottom
in
of
there
A.
for us.
Okay, that's an A. So what are we on
And
now?
we're about to finish up with long days, long
Oh,
sunlight.
Yeah, no. Love a long
hours.
day. I love the fact that we got more sunlight. That's the best thing.
That's the very
It's-
definition of a long day. You need to expound. for us.
Okay, okay. I will
Your
expand on
work.
it. So I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and I usually come home around about 4 or 5 o'clock. So waking up in the dark is horrible, and coming home in the dark is horrible, and especially when you're in an office where it's also going to be dark and dreary because of this overcast weather, and it's generally not nice. Means you
Yeah.
spend a lot of your time in the darkness. So coming home and just being able to sit outside with a cup of tea and talk to the kids, talk to the wife and everything, or just be able to sit outside and read a book or get the fresh air, work in the garden for a bit, sort the shed out, things like that. Just being able to have that more options to move around and just not be, I love my basement, I love all this, but like it is nice to just have another. You get another room of your house essentially. Well, for those of us blessed with gardens, you do have another room of your house that you can occupy, or you can get out to parks. You can go. Having that extra time is great. You're saying
It's an
A. I'm saying
A
S.
tier.
I think
These guys
long days
who
is
live
better
in
for
the
mental
city,
health.
the guys who live in the city have so much light pollution that it doesn't even matter to them. So
But there's
I
a
think they're on
different
the
kind
lower
of
end
light.
of it.
Like the sunlight is something different. You get the.
And we have 63 more items to get through. So
say
I think
yes.
A tier is appropriate.
What do you guys
It's
think?
not that good.
It's like the best thing. It's
not
suitable
grilling.
for human life.
It's not grilling.
It's not
What
grilling.
would you rather have, a good grill or a long day?
I can eat other
I rest
things.
my case.
I don't want to grill in the fucking dark. All right, fine.
Okay, well, no one else is saying S, so
Okay, fine.
see what I mean
fine.
about the abuse of power? All right, next up, outdoor markets, either like
Oh,
Ooh, I love
farmers
a good
market or
market.
floral stand, something where you can
German
go
markets are
amongst
great.
people.
Yeah, no, I love a good outdoor market. Like,
Mm.
it's not quite a summer thing, although obviously you don't want to do it in like the cold of winter or in the middle of the rain. But up in Camden Market, like, there's a wonderful food court, and just you get to walk
Camden
around the
Market's so good.
canals,
I love
Yeah.
Camden Market.
and you just take in all the weird bullshit they've got lying around, all the weird stores, all the interesting niche little things. Just like, yeah, no, for me, like an outdoor market is an S tier. Especially, and guess what? Then you have the other kinds of outdoor market where it's just like go and see all the weird cheeses or the weird soaps that
Mm.
someone's handmade, or guess what? Like it's complete opposite end of the spectrum. But a good outdoor Christmas market is one of the best things you can possibly go to. Like, they're
The
a ton of
stall
fun.
that's somehow making money just selling gems, like, and you still can't work it out,
Yeah.
but they've been there for 15 years.
Look, you don't understand. You need to recharge your crystal idol.
Sorry, I haven't.
That's
That's my
different.
problem today. I haven't.
Outdoor
had enough
market's one of my
crystal energy.
favorites.
Downtown Dan, what do you think?
I'm trying to figure out where I land because there's a few different iterations we have that we do enjoy. So we like to go in the fall to farms, and they will inevitably have all the different things that they're selling outside. You can,
Yeah, we'll count that.
yeah, so that's fair. Was farmers markets for sure, where you could get fresh produce, but we don't tend to go there, and so I think part of the reason why is you go to a farmers market, and while the stuff is certainly fresh, it's right off the truck. There's an element of haggling, and I just like my transactions for my food to be a little more clean and well marked than having to worry about whether I'm going to get taken a ride for this cauliflower. Also, I mean, there is a bit of a sanitary element. I always get worried when
All right.
I'm buying my meat
Never go
out
to
of
Hong
a
Kong.
igloo cooler. That's so I think I have to be right in the middle
See,
here. So I'm probably
that's why you
gonna
got to
be
go with hard meats like salamis and whatnot. Then you know you're okay.
I love street food. Like anytime there's a street food festival, I'm just spoiled for choice. I'm like, I have to go to at least 2 or 3 of these. Like I can't just go to one. Like because I feel like there's a whole festival of food. I wish they all did like a sampler set so I could just have a bit from here, a bit from there. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I went to what was it? It was God, I can't remember where I went on holiday again. But like they just
Crete.
had like a little. No, it wasn't Crete this time. I think it was somewhere else. I forget where it was. I'm such a dandy. You see, I go vacationing all over the place. And they had a nice little like street food market, and it was just. Mum wasn't into it at all because she had like had a meal like 8 hours earlier, and she's like, she's older now, so she doesn't like eat as much. And I'm like, yeah, no, right? Like something like that. She doesn't eat anything. She doesn't eat
Oh,
anything at all. It feels like, and I'm just like, come on, let's go. And, like they got all this kind of. Do you want to know what I'm at? Like they got fucking hot dogs size of your head. They got freaking like really tender little chicken wings. Do you want like look at these fries? They got freaking like grated cheese all over them. And she's like, nah. And I'm like, it's not as much fun if you're on your
stuff
own.
with a pig,
If
stuff
you're
with a
just
chicken, stuff with a goose.
Look, that hourglass shape ain't gonna keep itself. All right.
You only live once.
So people in my country, especially outside of cities, have lamented the loss of what are they called? Third spaces, where you can go and exist without spending
Oh, okay,
money,
yeah.
like libraries or forum, entertainment center, whatever. Malls have shut down a lot. And ironically, these kind of stalls, you can actually just go and browse. No one's going to hit you up for money. Like you approach them and buy if you want to buy. But I really like them just to go and browse. So I appreciate having some place to mix. The ones in Germany, top shelf, especially the Christmas markets.
I was
Which
going
aren't
to say,
summer
I've
yourself.
never been impressed with the Christmas market, mostly because I don't know what to buy at a Christmas market, other than like a bit of
Well, you
mulled
can
wine
just go and look.
and a pastry.
Food items mostly.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh,
is
yeah.
that what makes it a Christmas market? Is it the fact you can just buy some very expensive tinsel and a tiny tree that you're probably going to die, going
It's
to
a
kill?
market at Christmas. That's what makes it a Christmas
Right.
market.
Okay. So it's just a regular market, but they're saying it's a
All right.
Christmas market.
S. I say yes. I
S,
really
no.
enjoy
I
it.
say yes.
I say yes.
Yes.
Christmas markets bring it down for me. Dan.
Yeah, I was on B, so I'm not helping anybody here. But
Sounds like a say for
All
me.
right, two S, an A, and a B. I think that's an A.
That's an A. Yeah.
So we'll go A.
Yeah.
Go A and move on.
We'll be
I realize
diplomatic.
I realize a flaw here, Otto. You started a poll, a tiering system called "The Best Things About Summer," and yet we have a C and a D. We can't have the best things being the worst on the list.
oh, don't worry, I see a few on here that are getting
Okay,
pretty
okay.
low, so don't worry.
No, they can all be S and A. It's supposed to be a more uplifting poll. All right, up next, picnic. And I'm going to lead off here because the picnic is the sandy beach for me of
see, it's
summertime
different for me.
activities. You go there, you sit in an awkward position on the floor. You're reminded that you have a gut that spills over. You have ants biting you. You spill like Hawaiian fruit punch all over your significant other. And it's just a mess. It's never as romantic as you think it's going to be in your mind. The food comes in like little Tupperware containers and they start sweating by the cheese sweats by the time you get there. It's never as good
This
as
sounds
you
like
think it
someone
will
that
be.
doesn't prepare for a picnic properly. Welcome
So
to
I'm gonna-
England, where we are the king of picnics, where we have lovely verdant grassy verges. We have all the Tupperware in arranged parcels that you can neatly unfold
See.
and have.
C tier.
You got to come properly equipped. It's like camping, you know. It's an accessory of camping, picnicking, because you've got to have all the right preparation. If you just go out there with your Tesco shopping bag full of drink, you're gonna have a bad time.
So let's have a scene here. I'm at home. I have made lunch for everybody. It's ready.
You're a good man. Well done on you for eating
Now-
that.
Let's take this lunch and put it in a whole bunch of containers that I'm going to have to clean later.
Yes.
Pick it up and transport it someplace else while it degrades, as Otto said, and then burst it all out, expose it to the elements, and then have to eat it real quick just so we can get on and enjoy our day. And then bring all the shit back home, pack it all out, and then have to get back home and clean everything up again.
What you're
makes
missing.
zero sense to me. Picnics make zero sense.
what you
If
are
I want to
missing-
enjoy nature, I will enjoy nature. I will eat my food before I go.
It is-
D tier.
It is an exercise. It is an exercise in preparation, in planning, in coordination.
Oh, yeah,
and the
funnest
real.
Oh yeah,
in
all
the
the things
world.
I enjoy the
So
most.
much
are
fun,
spreadsheets.
But I
preparation,
do. I
planning.
love that stuff. So
Yeah, I know you do, spreadsheet boy.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good for my 401k, but for my feed and walk, I don't know.
Also, since we're already demonetized, there is that refractory period. Once you get back and you open up the Tupperware and it smells like of slightly
Oh, God.
rotting fruit,
Just
where you're like,
bulging a
oh,
little,
this is not worth it. I should not have gone on the picnic. So,
You've never had
Stars
a
of
good picnic
Picnic.
unless you've had a Scotch egg that's been sitting in the sun for 2 hours. Like that's life.
Idle. Let me make you a counter proposal. You say you like the idea of going out into nature, making a plan, and having food amongst the God's green majesty or
Yeah.
whatever you happen to be doing.
If I had a British flag,
Why don't you
right
just
now.
go to a fucking restaurant? Why don't you go to a fucking
Because that's more
restaurant?
expensive.
Fucking civilized.
It's
I don't
so
want people
expensive.
Oh, yeah.
around. I don't want people around though. That is one thing picnic has. If you have a good spot without people, that's a plus. That's why it's only.
Such a thing as takeaway food. You take it and then you move.
Yeah, but it's still
That way
expensive.
you don't have to make the food
You make
yourself.
food at home, it's cheaper.
I still have to be around my family.
Yeah, that is true.
GF tier.
Here's the real problem.
Wow.
Here's the real
Okay,
problem.
all right. This
All right,
is
let's
sounding like
vote.
this is you've countered
C.
my argument.
Dan votes D or P.
I'll
If
go
it's
P.
B.
P
I
too.
said- I'll go B, but
Pissed off at picnics.
CDB, you're gonna break the tie here. I think Stars.
I'm okay with a C tier. Like, if someone else
okay.
invites me on a picnic and they'll make all the food and they'll do all the thing, by all means, sure. It's still not going to be my ideal dining experience, but I'll go along with it. But if I'm never going to propose to anyone that we do a picnic, I'll be like, let's go fucking have a meal, go watch a movie, and then go home. I'm not into picnics.
My,
About it.
my dad has the most comfortable like picnic chairs in the world. They're amazing. Anyway, carry on.
Popsicles and or ice cream cones.
Oh, I have ice cream in the freezer right now.
Yeah.
can
I have
that.
one problem. I have no problems with ice cream. Ice cream is S tier, but it's not really a summer exclusive thing for me. I would have ice cream year round.
Let's imagine you're out walking about with one that you just bought at a vendor somewhere
Okay.
outside, like the classic summer experience.
Okay, I'm with my children. One of them has just dropped it on the floor. He's now crying.
Okay.
The other one has run off.
No, no, no.
somewhere.
While
I'm
you were
now
gone, we
struggling with
decided
three ice
we're
cream-
going to
or
have
two
no
ice creams in my hand
allergies.
and realizing that I've left my card in my back pocket, so I can't buy another one without putting these two ice creams down. So
Right.
I have to hand them to a stranger who then runs off
No
with
children.
them.
No
I
children
thought
and
you
no
were talking to
allergies.
me about planning, Idle.
Oh, got
This is
him.
impromptu. Okay, I love ice cream. Ice cream's great. I had a cafe latte ice cream today that was really nice. I love coffee ice cream.
Yeah, there's a lemon sorbet in the freezer I'm thinking about having right now. I'm thinking about it.
I've never been much of
Could
a
be a
sorbet
stiff me.
person.
Dan, or yeah.
Sorbet.
I could take or leave frozen treats. So there's a few problems I have with them. That the cold, if it's just the right temperature, if you're just getting it, out of your own home freezer and you've got it so cold to keep meats and other things, then your ice cream's probably too cold. It's going to numb your tongue. It has to have a really bold flavor. It has to be really great ice cream in order to break through that and to really have an impact. So no matter the frozen treat, if it's too cold, it's right out.
Butter pecan.
The other problem I
is-
have with what's that?
Butter pecan is a no-go at a certain temperature.
No, I don't like ice cream with like hard bits in it either. But here's all the things I don't like today, guys.
I'm a mint chocolate. I'm a mint chocolate chip guy, so that sounds like sacrilege to me.
But I do enjoy a really nice real fruit popsicle, one that's you could see the seeds from the strawberries in it and things like that, and so that's okay. So I think again I have to average out. If all the elements are just right, then it could probably hit a B tier for me.
Do you make your own for the kids, for each other?
Sometimes we do. We get them involved in it, and it's a lot of fun for them. Whenever we
Yeah.
have old fruit, then that's where it goes. Is we make little.
Okay.
little
I'm
parodies.
also B because it's a nice experience.
What,
but
Mr. Ice
it's only,
Cream on
you know,
holiday?
There's stickiness. There's the fact that your waistline is going to regret it later. It's too easy to just trick yourself into having an ice cream and then you regret it later.
Wow.
So it's a nice element now and then in summer, but plus you can have it all year round, which
Yeah, I'm
kinda
easier on
hurts it.
ice creams for me, but
so
I'm extra on ice
BBAS.
creams. I will. Babs.
Babs.
No, BABS. All right, what does that average out to? High B or low A? Somewhere
I
in
think it's
there.
a low
I think.
A. I'd say it's a low A.
That's a
The,
low
S, the
A.
S carries that higher than it is.
Okay.
I will fight for ice cream.
Okay.
Next up, shorts and flip flops. Not being in a fabric prison all the time.
I have the worst. Well, I'm not happy with my legs. They are something I don't like getting out that often, mostly for the myriad of scars along my knee as well. But yeah, shorts is I never have a problem with any kind of temperature sensor like on my legs. Like I can be out in the wind of the rain or anything, and I'm just like I just rather wear jeans right now. Like I don't see the need to get my legs out for this.
I say thank God for shorts and flip flops, because if we didn't have them, we would be a whole lot less civilized. Because there are some people that simply would just go without. It would be barefoot and briefs,
On the flip
regardless of
side,
the rules.
living in a touristy destination, there are sometimes I'm saying, "Oh God, why are you wearing shorts? And why are they that short?"
Yeah.
I usually personally opt out of shorts. I'm a pants man myself, even in summer. Although
He's
there
a
are some
pants
times it gets really
man.
nasty.
Ah.
But I will not wear flip flops. I don't like the smell. I don't like the appearance of
They
my
have a
feet
smell?
outside. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. If
Wow.
you're not keeping them properly, and yeah, they get stinky.
Only
I also
fruit
just like
popsicles.
I don't like the way they feel. Like I'm about to fall out of them at any given time, and like all of a
just
sudden,
the way the spoke just goes between your big toe and the second toe,
Yeah,
and
the
it's there
thumb.
the whole time. That bugs me. Like my toes need to be together. They're all friends. They have to be in the same shoe. Like let's not separate.
yeah.
Dude, learn how
It-
fucking weird you guys are today.
Yeah. But I appreciate their existence, and I can't see the world being the same without them. So I think they have to be
Yeah.
I think they have to be A tier.
Look,
I know. For me, it's probably a B. Like I only ever wear shorts when I'm on a holiday. Like even when I'm out. Guess what? I live in the UK.
Yeah,
This is
this
not
is
a
another
shorts
thing.
wearing country, really. And flip flops. Like I wear like trainers all the time. Like I'd rather just wear those rather than like sandals or anything like that. Like I don't like exposing my pale, freakish feet. It's not my thing. Don't like it.
I've got a pair of work designated flip flops.
Mm.
This is my favorite in the entire list. S++. Flip flops that is summer to me. I'd rather have that than grilling or
Wow.
beaches or anything else. I have to have my flip flops. I go everywhere. I
Vito?
go to church in my flip flops. Go to funerals in flip flops. Like if it's warm enough, the flip flops are on. So that's
You
that's
have your
top of the
tie-
list for me.
Black tie flip flops.
That's right. My Canadian tuxedo and my flip flops. So that average, whatever that averages out to,
What did you say, Dan?
I was on A.
you guys and your smelly feet.
I think we're all saying. I think you're all saying stars. So it's between an S and a B and a double A. That's a Saab.
Right
I'll
in the
save
A.
my veto for another time.
Yeah, no one's vetoed. Yeah. Wow. What's next?
We will save you something that matters.
Yeah, for the Star Trek one.
Hmm.
All right, up next. By the way, Marie, if you're listening, we need your opinion on this one. The sundress.
In what
I mean,
context?
you're asking me.
Well, you can vote too as a gay man. As a straight man, women just look better in sundresses. If you look comfortable and free flowing and you can pirouette and it moves, through the air, I love a good sundress.
I do
I
feel
would
kind
actually-
of pinned down by man clothes sometimes. Yeah, if I could have a free flowing, just
I'd be willing to wear one, I think.
No one's stopping you.
pillowy,
in
billowy
certain
type of thing,
situations.
I think that'd be great. Yeah, everything we have is right around the arm and right around the legs,
Oh, no,
and
I
it's
have-
just really no give to
I have
it.
a
No, yeah,
plethora
absolutely
of
dresses.
baggy t-shirts and like comfortable trousers for those situations. Like I do not want to be restricted by clothes, but nothing's stopping you for saying like, oh yeah, I have Scottish heritage and getting a kilt out and just letting it free, just keeping it loose. Like you could certainly do this. No further comment, but I'll say S tier.
S tier.
Yeah, I have absolutely no opinion on this. That being said, my mum does have a really wonderful Greek dress that she loves to wear because it is incredibly, as you say, free flowing and great for airflow, and it makes her feel good. So, like, you know what? In that spirit, I'll say S tier. Sure.
No pockets though. D tier.
Well, never any pockets in a dress. Never. That's what a pants are
Yeah,
for.
I can't vote S on something I haven't worn, but I feel like I hear a lot of good things, and people look good in.
Have you
sundress.
worn a grill?
Parts of one? Yes,
What better than loose fitting clothing around open flames?
that's right.
That's true. I feel like
Put on my grill and
Patrick
dress
Stewart's in
and
the
I'm ready to
background just
go.
saying, I've seen everything. All right, let's put that in S. Then let's move on before we indict ourselves.
All right, this one kind of ties in the shorts and flip flops, but traveling light, not having to pack a coat or boots where you
Oh, I thought
go,
this was gonna be
not
different.
a lighter.
So my pet peeve is, and this is before kids, but especially after kids, is traveling anywhere by plane at the moment because it is, and I know I'm contradicting myself with the
Stressful.
picnic things because I like planning a picnic, but traveling is such a pain in the ass, and not because of the planning how to pack everything, just the physical act of moving things around. So if you're going to tell me tomorrow that, oh hey, you can come up to this convention that's a 2-hour drive away, you just need a couple of nice clothes and maybe a bottle of water, I'm like, that's brilliant. Thank you, please, thank you.
Yeah, jump on the train and
Me and my wife did it recently. We basically went to Norwich, our nearby city. We left the kids with
Norwich?
with my in-laws, and we got on the train. We went to Norwich. We walked around a few pubs, did a bit of shopping, got on the train, went back, came home. Beautiful day.
well, that's more an indictment of the lack of public transport in some places than it is about packing light in summer, but point's taken.
All right. So I'm going to use my veto here. We haven't even begun ranking, but I'm going to use my veto against your rule, Otto, about talking about the family or kids or whatever.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I have a story here. So about packing light versus the opposite of that. Last summer, we went to Universal Studios in Florida, and middle of the summer, I think it was July, awful temperatures, 94 degrees, 100% humidity.
Mm-hmm.
And we were staying on a Universal Studios property, and on those properties, they do not give you a micro fridge. They do not want you to bring back leftovers because you're using their restaurant facilities less if you do that. So it was our bold idea to bring
No.
This is gonna be good.
to bring a microwave. We brought a microwave with us.
Like a boombox, you just carry it around.
This was the problem. It was not traveling light. As a
No.
matter of fact, I got stuck with this damn microwave. We had to put it under a blanket to smuggle it in.
Dan and his microwave.
It was not.
What's in the
small.
box?
I got it right over here. It's pretty big. So,
Would it not have been easier to just buy a microwave at a nearby store and bring it in with you in like
No.
it's still
bag
same
or something
problems,
like
but
that?
they do
Budget.
let you. Here's the thing: they let you rent one. If you wanted a microwave, you could rent a microwave at a
What?
cost of $30 a day
Wow.
from the
Go
hotel.
off!
Right. So if you had a medical need to warm up your whatever you got to do, then I guess you have that option for you. I guess for
What?
people that have small children and they've got to warm up a bottle.
Was
or
this
things
why
like
you
that. I mean,
had a
there's-
microwave then for the bottles?
No, we brought it for ramen because.
Because I was just thinking to myself,
So,
what
so
possible
not only
need
did I
do you
have
need
to
a
bring in
microwave that
the
urgently?
boombox microwave, but also the package of ramen, the big thing, everything that we were preparing.
Did you
Did you not have a
crinkle when
kettle
you
in the room?
walked?
Do you not have a kettle in the room?
No,
Oh.
these are just hotel rooms. Yep. No. So I can I can acutely appreciate traveling light, and it is honest to goodness an S tier to be
S
able to
tier,
travel
all right.
light. Yeah.
He's used his veto, so
Okay,
we're
okay,
locked in
fine.
S.
Yep.
Can't fight it. I can't fight this feeling anymore.
All right, watermelon, slam dunk S. If not for flip flops, it would be top of my list.
I am.
Okay.
You
Can't
know, the
argue with
best
that.
part about watermelon is it's actually scientifically proven to help on diets. I just replace entire meals with watermelon, and I lose weight when I need
You're right.
to.
It's a negative calorie density. The
Right.
amount of energy that your body expends just to get rid of it, it exceeds the amount of caloric benefit. The only problem is that it has a certain type of sugar in it that if you overconsume, then it causes issues with your gut. So look out for
Well,
that.
You know,
Oh, well,
I'm
fuck it, I'll
a
throw out my
living,
running
breathing
shoes then.
story that it's okay. So
So watermelon. Has anybody ever made the drinks? So like these got popular on social media a few years ago, where you take an entire bottle of vodka and you cut a hole in your watermelon and you put the bottle into
No,
the
jungle,
watermelon.
don't do
jungle
this.
juice.
Yeah,
No,
I
no.
guess. I don't know. So I don't know if it's we never did that, but that could be a thing.
That's
No,
wild.
I enjoy consuming them separately.
I appreciate any fresh fruit. That's an S tier for me.
I like fresh fruit, but watermelon's okay. It's ironically too watery. I like my fruit to have a bit more density to it. Like it feels like I put it in my mouth and it just evaporates.
Right, George McFly.
Yeah, it just sort of like it just melts in your mouth and goes away. I could never consider like having it as a full meal. Like it just doesn't. It just I'm
you,
having a
haven't
drink.
you haven't eaten enough of it yet. That's the problem.
Maybe it is.
You eat enough, you'll get full. Trust me.
Like how many? Do we need watermelon watch on you? Also, like how many watermelons are you consuming a day? Is there currently
I'll
a problem?
just
happening?
juggle watermelons. All right. In the interest of moving along,
bite
two
out of
S's. Let's get a letter from you guys.
I'll say
I'll go for an A. I love a good
No,
watermelon.
that sounds like a say again. All right, fine. I'll put it in S. All right.
You can put a bottom of S if you want.
All right, bottom of S. It's bottom of S. There we go.
All right, last one in this very exciting poll of all things summer: wildflowers.
Okay. My hay fever says, "Fuck wildflowers," but my
Yeah.
wife, being a gardener, says like it's nice to see them out. So. And
My
I love bees.
appreciation for
I love
aesthetic
bees.
says S as
Bees
well.
are great.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you gotta give the pollinator something. The other reason I think all of our lawns should be wildflowers. I don't subscribe to the perfectly
Yes.
manicured
Yes.
green grass lawn. I let it
What
grow
a lucky
wild. I love
man.
having the little sparkle of yellow flowers that show up for a couple of weeks, and then you get the little tiny blue ones that show up, and oh, it's fantastic. They don't have to be huge; just a little pop of color right
Yeah.
in my front yard is fantastic.
It's
Yeah, they're
quite
S tier.
funny. Someone down the road from me has put out a load of like astroturf, a load of like that fake grass, and like trying to.
Oh.
They've been fighting, and it's so funny because like within about a month of them putting that in, his tiny little flowers like poking up in between it, like fighting through the cracks as they say, "Ah, fuck you, we're still here."
Life
Stars-
finds a way.
Yep.
Do you remember my neighbor across the street? I don't know if they would have been in bloom when you were there, but I replaced his front lawn with wildflowers, and they it just went huge with wildflowers. Were they in bloom when you were there?
I don't think they were.
Mm.
I mean,
Okay.
it was pollen season because I remember having to get the hay fever
I
tablets.
think
but
you were there
I don't
in
think
May.
that
So
was
it was a little early.
No
for me.
allergies.
you know.
I developed hay fever like within the last like 4 or 5 years. Like it's nothing I had as a kid, but now this time of year, just like
Probably because you're inside with spreadsheets instead of going to like Christmas markets and stuff. Like,
Auto's life facts for getting out.
that's right. You don't wear enough flip flops. That's a problem, I think.
Yeah, our flip-flops are a noted anti-allergy cure.
I'm gonna say
Dandelions are a great early pollinator, by the way. They're like the best early pollinator. People pick
Dandelions
them
are
like
great.
they're bad or something.
yeah, no, S tier because flowers are an essential part of
S.
our life cycle. So like it's
Yes,
they're needed
S.
for
S
everything.
tier. S tier.
Give me them daffs.
We're all in. Is this the first one we're all in agreement on? By the
I
way,
think so. It is.
wildflowers,
Yeah.
the great uniter.
So what we've established from this scintillating discussion is fuck picnics.
Yes.
They stand
hold on.
alone.
Yeah, check that. Oh, dude, there are 2 tiers below everything. That's
That's not even
hilarious.
fair. Okay.
Ironically,
I felt this is a good tier.
Yeah, ironically, the United and S for wildflowers and picnic kind of go hand in hand. So I don't know about that overlap, but all right. On to the pièce de résistance because there's 54 of those suckers we got to go through
Ding. Right.
Oh,
in the
man.
next hour. We're going speed round on this, and that is the big book of Star Trek romances,
Oh boy.
tiered S to D. I tried to grab one from most series. I don't think I don't have a Prodigy one, and I only have one Lower Decks one. But I tried to grab as
There's
much
not really
as-
any romances in Prodigy.
There
So that's
kind
fine.
of is. There is a little bit. Hang on.
Yeah.
There is. But okay. It's a developing thing.
Mhm.
But anyway.
Starts off.
Hold on. Do you have it in the same order that I do? No, you don't.
No,
All right.
no.
So we have Odo and the female founder.
Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, D tier. Fuck off. Oof.
I put it in there just so we could all shoot on it in D tier. I think. So.
I like
It's so
that-
toxic. It's so
it is
toxic.
very toxic. I like that we had the counterpoint between Kira and the Dominion founder. Like he is
That's
fighting
true,
his
yeah.
love versus his his race essentially, and like his devotion to whether he should be part of like his identity. And I think one of the best parts about Odo being a character is he blatantly contradicts his entire society to do something else after 5 minutes after meeting them, which says what you need to say, what all needs to be said about the founders. So
He's a filthy collaborator. It's D tier. Come on. Unless Dan wants to pull us back from.
I got a creepy feeling about the quasi relationship that they had. So one of the things that really struck me with a weird vibe was the first time that they shared the link
They
together.
join. Yeah.
And so it just
He
felt
feels he's
like the
brainwashed.
older kid down the block that you only kind of knew, that one day you decided to and it totally took advantage of Odo in that moment, and just oh, look what you could have down here, it's just so gross. No, it's not even a relationship, it's D.
Yeah. From like a narrative, this is what the founders are about, and making Odo grow as a character. It's like an S tier, but as an actual robot relationship, get the fucking flamethrower out. Good God, no. It's a no TP from me.
All right. That was a gimme. That was an easy one. This one also is Scotty and Uhura in the movies.
No.
I would have liked it if they'd have
No.
if they've done
Done
any
anything
kind
with
of
it.
foreshadowing or any kind of prior interaction, but they just started off the final frontiers like, yeah, we're banging now. Okay, right.
Yeah. So I have
Good for them.
a
Yeah.
bootleg. So Here's
So,
the nerd part.
Be careful
I have
with
a
the bootleg tape
bootleg a bootleg Mystery Science Theater review done by fans in like 1998 of
Oh, wow.
Star Trek V. It was written by I think he's a Canadian guy named Ryan K. Johnson. I still remember him because I corresponded with him, and he did all kinds of fan productions for Doctor Who. Really interesting guy. His stuff's still up online, so go check him out. But what I remember specifically about his Mystery Science Theater treatment of Star Trek V is every time the two of them showed any intimacy, he would just go, "Moo!" So that's how I summarize it. It's another D tier.
I actually really like Final Frontier, but Scotty is the worst part of that movie. This relationship out of nowhere, and then the slapstick comedy didn't
Bumping
land
his head
for
on the
me.
thing.
Yeah.
I
It doesn't
know
make
this
sense.
shit
Yeah.
back of my hand. Yeah. All right, that
Oh.
sounds like
Yeah.
Doesn't treat him with respect. And the thing about Scotty is that, like, even though Scotty is like a consummate stereotype in like popular culture, you go back and watch it, he's a consummate professional.
Oh yeah.
And it's like everything in Final Frontier flies against that and just doesn't do any like favors for his character. So yeah, I'd agree with D2.
Here's the thing: Strange New World season 3. We now have Scotty on the Enterprise. We have Uhura on the Enterprise. They could seed it in there a little bit.
Don't just
You know, they could, but I don't think they will.
Yeah.
They got
It
enough.
feels weird.
They have enough plates spinning. Leave that one alone. All right, Kirk and Carol Marcus.
Okay. I've been holding on to this since you mentioned the veto. This is an instant S tier for me.
Oh, wow! I'd have gone
Sorry.
like D.
No,
Ooh.
I'm sorry. It's you talk amongst yourself, so I'm gonna get my
Wait, hold on.
My
what if
statement.
two of us use vetoes at the same one? What happens? Does the universe
Ooh.
implode? How does that work?
I think you cancel each other out. If you're going to veto each other, then neither of you get to veto.
Okay. No, I won't do it though. Go ahead. I respect the veto.
Okay. Here we go. Yeah, so guess what? The reason why this is an S tier romance to me is because it results in not just my favorite Star Trek dialogue of all time, but possibly my favorite film dialogue of all time. Which is the dialogue between Kirk
Monty
and
O'Toole.
Marcus. No, not quite. In the Genesis cave when they're separated from everyone else. Kirk says, I did what you wanted. I stayed away. Why didn't you tell him? And Carol says, how can you ask me that? Were we together? Were we going to be? You had your world and I had mine, and I wanted him in mine, not chasing through the universe with his father. Actually, he's a lot like you, in many ways. Please tell me what you're feeling. There's a man out there I haven't seen in 15 years who's trying to kill me. You show me a son that'd be happy to help him. My son, my life that could have been and wasn't. And what am I feeling? Old, worn out. And then Carol just takes him by the hand and says, let me show you something that'll make you feel young as when the world was new. And that is romance. Let me show you something that'll make you feel young as when the world was like, can you imagine? That is such a romantic concept. Like, fucking, let me make the world new for you. Give me that power. Like, fucking, every time I think about that scene, I get gooey inside. And even though that's a failed romance, it hits just right for me. That is the philosophy that is stuck with me for my entire life. So guess what? I'm vetoing it. It's an S tier romance for me.
That was beautiful. I appreciate how much you love this. I think you won me over too. That's very
Okay.
sweet.
That's gone up there.
Now, see, that always stuck out to me as more of a, not quite pity, but like
Sympathy, empathy.
Yeah, sympathy. Throw you a bone for what we did have, not an actual ongoing romance. Plus, we
But
don't.
it speaks
we
so
don't-
much to what their romance was.
But we don't see any of that. We don't see them actually romantically involved.
It won't.
So,
I know it's the fact that, especially, I think it's down to the romance, the subtle like acting. Guess what? I'm going to use the word subtle to apply to William Shatner here. So guess what? That's how much I love the scene.
Which he then
the way
ruins in the
he and
later
Dee
scene where he
Dash-
screams at the ceiling. But yeah, go on.
Well, it's like the subtle way that they play off each other, like William Shatner and Bibi Besh, and it just speaks to such a casual intimacy that I can see it. I can see what they were like when they were younger. I can absolutely see not just what Kirk would have seen in Marcus, but what Carol would have seen in Kirk, and just like what would have attracted them to each other. I just love that life that could have been and yet wasn't. Just like there's poetry in that. I love it.
I know that Shai would agree with you on Shatner's ability to do subtlety also, and it's in that scene. You're right.
well, I think the romance between Kirk and Khan. I'm sorry, not the romance. The
Is
the
that
energy,
romance?
the relationship between those two far surpassed
Yeah,
Kirk
that was-
and Carol.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
like, if you get overshadowed in your only chance on screen, I feel like that can't be S tier. But UV2.
Vito
But
has
it's
been
also a
applied.
case of like that's the thesis of the movie as well. The entire movie ties back to that one conversation and about the idea of taking life's chances. So guess what? That redeems the movie for me.
Okay,
Maybe
just for
if
the
Khan
record,
had an appreciation for the life that could have been but wasn't, maybe he wouldn't have been, blown himself up.
Idle and Dan, what would you have given this?
I didn't think much of it until I heard that
Yeah.
that soliloquy there. I think I might be on board. I think at least for an A tier.
I think I would have reflexively put it in B, but yeah, I think you might have swung. with it a
And I
little
would have gone C. So
bit. Okay,
I have kind of a rainbow spectrum
We
here.
spelled it.
Fight
Yep,
for it.
spelled the alphabet.
cool.
All right, who's up next? I gotta
Bur-
look
uh,
on the. Oh,
Yeah,
Kira
what are
and
you doing?
Barile.
Oh,
Most
This is
boring man
controversial, I
in the
feel like.
world meets fiery
let-
redhead.
Yeah, let's say Prime Universe Barile, not
Yeah.
Mirror Barile in this case.
I mean, his story arc is tragic, but
yeah.
he was never the most like with Kira. I kind of want
He's not the most charismatic individual.
no, but you kind of want someone to match her energy to be in that kind of
Mm.
space. Like he seemed to be more like the opposite of what she was doing, which kind of led to I don't know, being a bit dull.
I mean, I like what he represents in her arc, like a moment of healing. Like, you can't go to if you had like season 1 Kira and you tried to put her in a relationship with even Shakar, who is different from Barile, or even Odo, like it just does not work. You need that period of healing, of allowing her to come out of her shell, out of her angry shell, and recover. So I feel like I want to give this one a B because when I watched it all the way through with my Brody for the first time, like we had an appreciation for Barile. He was alright. He's not amazing. He's not a top 10 stud of Star Trek or whatever. But I appreciated the arc and I appreciated what he did for Kira, and I didn't hate him. Like there are romances here that I'm gonna hate. I know for a fact, but no, I give this a solid B.
I have two
Personally.
problems with the relationship. Again, this one tends into creepy territory when he becomes a Vedic and a spiritual leader, and then still maintains a relationship with somebody who is deeply spiritual. That crossed a boundary to me, and that gave me kind of some
I feel like
vibes
they never
of what.
played it like that though. They whenever they were not in like official circumstances, when they were like alone in their quarters, they were definitely more like, oh hey, we're lovers, or we are together in a different capacity. But if they were, he didn't feel like he was the clergyman and she was like part of the flock. It felt more like they were coming together on equal terms. I never kind of got the creepy vibe. But then I've not watched those episodes in a while.
That's how they tried to play it off, but I never bought it. There's an element. There's a reason why there's rules against this sort of thing, because whenever you have somebody in a position of power in any capacity trying to have a relationship, that becomes tainted, and I think it was just inappropriate. But more than that, it was soap opera bullshit. It's the worst of what I don't like about season 1 and 2 of Deep Space Nine. The absolute worst of it. Nothing sci-fi about this at all. Garbage D tier.
Until it gets his brain
Wow.
replaced, and then actually you get some storyline in it.
So I think in
Really,
terms of
Spock's brain is what turned it around for you. They Spock's brained him, and that
Barile's
made it
brain.
better.
Yes.
Jesus.
I think in terms of chemistry, this is actually Kira's best
Oh really?
relationship. I buy it more than I buy her and Odo or her and whoever else Siddig on screen.
Chemistry
There's definitely-
between her and Kai Wynn, though. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Sparks flying there.
There's an element of she's not using him, but she's relying on him for her discovery, her post-war spiritual, moral discovery and journey. And it reminds me of this episode of Frasier where he dates someone who gives him great massages and he likes her for that, but she's using him for psychiatric advice, and he has to wonder how much does she love me, or does she just love that I can help her out in this way? And there's that element of that relationship where it's like, if he was just like a hot dog vendor, would she love him the same way, or Jumja stick vendor, or does part of her just love him because he's helping guide
No,
her
commit to the
through-
bit hot dog vendor.
through this
I
trauma.
love the idea of
What is-
Barile as a hot dog vendor.
It's a little messed up. I don't think it's necessarily wrong, and I do like their chemistry the best. So it's an A for me.
I think C.
Really?
I go C, personally. I just found it boring, if anything.
I dragged it down to a C overall, I think.
Is that
C. What's up next?
C. Garrick and
Oh,
Zial.
Garrick and Zial.
Nope.
You want to talk about fucked up power dynamics? No.
Nope. This is
Especially the fact that Garrick is visibly not into it at any point. D tier.
This is awful. Like, this is
So-
why...
That is a gay lizard. That is a gay lizard.
aside
Well,
from,
no,
aside
hold
from
on,
the fan
hold on.
shipping, but yeah.
These are not strictly romantic because we have some bromances in here. So just like how much you
Okay.
enjoyed that relationship over. It's not all relationships, but
I would rather they've appeared as like a mutual mentor-mentee relationship where she was going to him to sort of be like, what is the alternative to my father Gul Dukat? Like, let's do this. But then they
Yeah.
threw in the romantic angle, and that was just didn't make sense. Garrick didn't seem like the kind of character that would have that kind of romantic, especially considering his relationship with Gul Dukat. And it seems to be like it reeks to me as just like, haha, I have your daughter, you know. But he was trying to be more, you know, they were trying to write him as loving part of that. But I felt like there was also an age gap difference, bearing in mind she was 14, being rescued
Yeah.
out of a mine only a couple of years previously, and it's
He's got to be what in his 40s-ish. Yeah, I don't like
yeah,
it.
it's not
Um,
great.
Even amongst like purely platonic things, I feel like I like her relationship with her father because it's complex. I like her relationship with Kira because that is straight up nurturing and uncomplicated and wholesome and good for both of them. Like there are so many more dynamics I like for both of these characters more than this one. I'd put this one in a strict D tier, no
Yeah,
matter
same.
what I slice it.
I love Garrick.
I just
but
don't
this
like
is the
them
worst
being on
thing
screen
that happened
together.
to him.
I had trouble
Yeah.
connecting with Zial as a character. Just, I mean, multiple actresses, first of all,
Yeah.
so different
Yeah.
takes on
Yeah.
it. She never
That doesn't
really
help.
seemed to have a culmination to her story arc that was satisfying. So, I mean, anything really surrounding her, I can't rank too highly. She just didn't have the impact that she really could have. She could have been integral to the later Deep Space Nine storyline, and she was a dropped ball. This has to be C. I just don't care either way.
It was weird as well because like Gul Dukat said, like, oh, I've got 14 kids, but this is the special one. Like it's a we never see any of the other children to get kind of comparison.
Well, because
to
it's
why.
related to Kira, and therefore
Yeah,
he cares.
true.
That's why.
So I'll go see here. Actually, there's a dynamic here that I really enjoy, and that's Garrick has this longing for companionship and a connection to
Hmm.
Cardassians that he cannot get on the station. And when he shows up, she shows up, he goes for her because he needs that connection. And when he realizes that's not the right dynamic, he pulls back. He doesn't push.
Hmm.
I mean, I think there's like one episode where they like get physically almost intimate at the end of the episode.
Is
But
it where they're sitting on like the sun?
yeah,
like,
on the
rock,
holodeck
I
or
think,
whatever,
yeah.
the springs of Cardassia. But he doesn't push that, and I think he realizes what he actually wanted out of that. She is not in the position to give, and it ends up being a little bit more paternal, sort of protector type relationship. So it is kind of weird and gross in a way, but I also think that it shows even Garrick, who's very shrewd and very smart, can fall for that kind of thing because he is lonely on the station because he needs that connection, and he sort of rectifies it on his own. So I don't love it, but I think there's a element that like, oh, I could see myself making that kind of dumb mistake and having to backtrack. So I'll say C.
So what we get? 2 C's, 2 D's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to talk someone down here.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin. How about I'm going to use my
Quite
veto.
intense,
I'm going to
yeah.
use my veto and say this. I was actively looking through the list of these people and thinking, where would
Ooh,
I put
on
a
this
veto
one.
here? So
Okay.
I think I'm
S tier.
going to veto it to D. Yeah, S tier now.
Okay.
That, who's still got veto? I think.
That's right. It's
also
not
you-
great, but I think
yeah.
it has a good element.
Yeah.
Speaking of D tier,
Also, and Dan still have their vetoes.
speaking of D tier, Narek and Narissa in the incestuous
Jesus, so
Picard
great.
relationship.
I don't think we even need to discuss this one. Please just put it in D and let's move on.
I had a hard time looking for Picard romantic type relationships.
Do you have
Jurati and the War Queen.
Yeah.
No, I may have Girardi and Rios in there. I forget if I cut that one or not. But
Here's
wait,
how
no, you-
little
you
I
do,
care
you do.
about those characters is I don't remember whether they actually died in the end or not.
I
I think they got away,
but
but I just don't
Yeah.
care.
yeah, they all forget. She is very hammy and too much.
I'm actually in this weird position where I kind of like Narek as a character, but Narissa is easily his worst dynamic. So yeah, that's an easy D tier for me.
Cool. That sounds like D.
Who knew that we hated romance in Star Trek?
I want my military as sci-fi. I want none of this bullshit. All right, what's next? Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
Oh,
La'an.
hold on, which I don't even reckon. Oh yeah. This
La'an
is
and James T. Kirk.
La'an and Paul Wesley's Kirk.
As opposed to William Shatner's.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm just
that,
saying.
that one was a weird one.
Dan, have
So
you
I
seen much
like
of
this-
this?
Yeah, I watched
Because this was
one.
season 2. Okay.
I like this relationship as the one that got away. I don't think it would have legs as a long-term relationship.
Yeah,
I don't think they're compatible.
It comes to
Not
a
well.
nice conclusion in Subspace Rhapsody where, she kind of opens
Yeah.
up and goes to him and says, like, could this work? And he goes, I'm seeing someone. And that's a bit like, oh shit. So, and then you kind of get the crux of the emotional scene at the end of Tomorrow being like, kind of, if Christina Chong wasn't so good at selling the trauma and at that moment and her amazing scene at the end where she's just weeping on the bed, like I don't think I'd rate this lower, but like she is 90% of that relationship for sure.
Yeah.
It's.
I'd
I
be
think
okay
this.
with a B, maybe.
Yeah, this was such a short arc, and it was really just a plot device to set up to make us more sympathetic to to La'an. She's so strong, and it's easy to mistake her character as another just character that's just there to be a Worf and just stand in the background. Sorry to shit on Worf, but just to be the embodiment of strength.
Welcome to Trek Time.
And so they needed to introduce something to give her a little bit of emotional turmoil, and I think that this just met a narrative need. I didn't get anything out of this. I didn't feel one way or another, and
Well,
so I mean,
It does come up in 2 other episodes in the season, so I don't know if you've seen them or not. So it does kind of tie through, but I think they very pointedly put it in the episode that's going to be wiped at the end because they knew it didn't need to be more than that anyways. But dude, this all of the, I don't want to say tolerable, that's mean. My favorite Paul Wesley stuff is him and La'an. And when he's not with her, I don't want him to be on my screen, actually, just because I enjoy the other characters more. So the fact that it did that much for me, I'm going to say at least a B for me, maybe an A. But I
can
like
swing
it for
to an
what
A,
it
but
is.
I won't
For
fight
what it
for
is.
I'll go with a B.
I think it's a red herring throwaway. I go C here.
That sounds like it's a B.
A, B, C? Is that B?
Yeah, I think it's
High B?
High
I
B.
think it crunches down to a B.
Get
Yeah.
that high B.
Okay.
Odo and Laxana.
One
Yeah,
episode.
Controversial
The
opinion.
elevator scene.
Controversial opinion. S.
They
love
are
the dynamic.
they are.
Thank you.
This is the sheer force of the acting talent
Hmm.
in the elevator scene really sold it, and we all understood the struggle at the end, and we see Loaxana. She's been playing this part for years on the Next Gen Enterprise, and when she got to finally find a way to stick the landing on what she had been playing up for laughs for so long, but really pull at your heartstrings here, and we really understand her motivation and her position, and Odo's loneliness too comes through here. What a fantastic scene for both of them. S tier.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed the episode where she needs his help getting out of that relationship, and like he kind of fools himself into thinking, you know what, I actually kind of want this. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want this with Laxana, but I fooled myself into this place of believing that it's something I could have, and I know there's a little bit of that Serrano de Bergerac thing going on. It's like, guess what? I'm a bit of a sucker for that. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, yeah, it's an S tier. Like you say, it's like I'll learn to swim. There's so many good lines. If you can point to one scene and point out why that dynamic works and why it has worth to both characters involved, then it's a worthwhile.
Yeah, I think it's one of those nice dynamics that like it starts off as like a comedy. Oh, we get the odd couple. You've got the very outrageous Laxana and the very stiff, Odo. But you follow the story. I think it's over a few episodes, isn't it? By the end of it, they have a kind of deep bond, like in a real meaningful way due to their experiences. Which is especially the turbo lift scene and like everything there. It's really great, So I'll happily say yes.
So I've got 2 problems with it. One, I don't get enough from Odo in this. I know the role that he's supposed to be playing, but he just doesn't give enough back to her and for the audience to latch onto. And B, we kind of already know that he and Kira are the end game, even at that point in the series. And I hate side relationships. Like when you know what the final quest is going to be, I don't like the ones that are like destined to fail. Sort of. It's a kind of a bad distraction. But I do like, dude. I really enjoy Majel. She's good in everything. I've said before.
Mm.
I'd probably give this high B, low A. But let me ask you guys, and this might sound a little weird, but I could really see it. If Quark was a female character, could you not see this episode with Quark and Odo one day? They're stuck in the turbolift. They butted heads. They've kind of scraped shields for a long time, but they've
Does
grown,
Quark have to be female
to be
in the
friends.
situation? Like, I feel like they could easily do that.
Well,
they could.
I have
mean,
to
the
point
Ascent-
out that you're
For
just
DS9.
describing. I was going to say the Ascent is
The
just
Ascent
what
is
you're
that,
describing.
Right, no, but I mean that it would turn into something pseudo romantic. Could you see
God.
that? I think I could see that actually happening. Just
Yeah, I can see
because
it.
I mean, in terms of the personality dynamic, because Quark and Odo are about as opposite as Loxana and Odo are. So
Yeah.
I could just see
Because
that
they're both people persons.
that
So-
kind of episode.
Lumbar and Odo, then. This killed
Yeah,
Joe.
I guess
I'm still with S.
I forgot Lumba existed. So all right,
We
three
tried this.
S's is pretty strong. So
Yeah.
I will demur.
How about Picard and Vosh?
Bosch, who was banging when the cameras turned off, by the way. So
This was spicy.
they had what?
Multiple
Episodes. They had
Two.
Q, the Q1.
Captain
With-
Holiday.
Yeah, no, they had Captain's Holiday. They had the Robin Hood
Cupid.
Q1.
Cupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it just those two?
I think
As
so.
an
yeah.
actual relationship, I believe so. Yeah.
And then she shows up in
Came back in
DS9.
Deep
so
Space Nine, yeah. Hmm.
it was good enough for them to bring her back.
She's a good actress. I like her.
I don't honestly have very strong feelings on it. I have an OTP for Picard. I know you. It's easy to guess. It's one of my favorite relationships in all Star Trek. Like you say, this smacks more of like side relationship that's never going to go anywhere. Like you know for a fact it's never going to go anywhere. It's only ever going to be a flirtation. Only ever. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like the parts of Captain's Holiday that I enjoy the most are Picard futzing around on fucking Riser and like being a weirdo. Like I enjoy that more than I enjoy his scenes with Vosh. They're fine, but I don't have a strong opinion on it. I guess it'd be like a B or a C for me. It's fine. Not mark against her. I think she's a great actress, but I enjoyed her dynamic with Quark on DS9 more than I really enjoyed her dynamic with Picard. The fact that she's basically just a side piece, like as Cupid kind of points out, and I just don't enjoy that dynamic.
I wish we had more. I wish she was brought back like once or twice every season or something like that. And just I know that wasn't in the TNG way, but it would have been nice to. She could have been like instead of the Nella Darren episode, that could have been a Vash episode. You know, if we're gonna go in for the captain.
Oh, but I love Nella Darren. Nella Darren's great.
Nella's coming up, so
Yeah, but I again, I'd say with Stars, I don't really have a strong feeling with it. We know Captain's Holiday was there just to give Patrick Stewart an action episode and like to be the Bond hero of the day. So it kind of that marks it against it. For
Or
me.
Indiana Jones, but yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like Cupid is kind of the same thing as well, although albeit a little funnier. I'd probably say low B, high C. Probably I won't argue.
That's where I'm
either
at.
of those.
Yeah.
I wonder what Patrick thought of Captain's Holiday. I wonder whether he really feels like it helped or hurt his character, because Picard being the moral center of this universe that is steeped in morality, this Federation, and then all of a sudden once he gets a chance to have a forced holiday, all of a sudden like it's all out the window. He gets taken by a scoundrel and he gets he banging on the floor of a cave with some woman he just met, and like I understand there's a lot of pent up stuff and he's only human and that's what they're trying to present, but is that really what you want to show to your viewers? This also just seemed kind of abrupt and out of character, and I never really got it. I'd probably a C for me. I liked watching him geek out on exo-archaeological stuff. That was fun. He showed a lot more interest in that than he did in her. So
I could be totally wrong. This is like an eighth hand account or something, but I remember reading that Stewart had some input on this because he wanted Picard to kind of break out of his shell and be a little bit more than
relatable.
they'd shown. Yeah. So I think
Starship Mine kind of does
I
the same
think
thing.
he was pretty on board with all that stuff. Plus the fact that he was with her in real life, I think while he was married, or left his wife for her or something. So he apparently was really into her, at least as an actress.
So let's film it. All right.
We just had the cameras rolling.
Stars-
They were cosplaying in some sort of Robin Hood thing, so we just got everyone else and just left the cameras rolling.
You said the relationship doesn't have it has an expiration date, and that's true, but I don't think Picard is the kind of guy that could ever have a relationship, and this is probably as close as it gets. It's going to have to be a strong A-type personality who is into that more than they're into soppy romance. So I think, well, whatever. This is a low A for me. I actually do like their dynamic. It carries Captain's Holiday for me. Like that episode would not be good if it weren't for their interplay. That Ferengi is really annoying. Riker being cheeky is okay, but it would just be a terrible episode if they didn't have chemistry, and I think they do. So I'll go low A. So what did we B C? What did you say, Dan?
I was C.
C. So Stars. B, maybe low B, high C.
I think B's fine. B's fine.
B, yeah, we'll pop that in B. Tendi and Rutherford.
I have zero memory.
No, I haven't seen Lee.
I have zero memory. I just read. I was going online and looking.
This isn't a spoiler. Like they don't hook up. Like this is not a thing. There is one episode in one of the recent ones where they basically float around the idea of they kind of like are we into each other, and they get put into awkward situations. But it totally resolves. Like they go like we're just friends. Like it's fine. That's not going to go down that route. So you're not missing anything on that regards. But I think what you mean also is like their relationship throughout the whole show, as opposed to their romance.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a physical romance.
Okay, good. Because I kind of hate that. Like, I think almost any of the lower deckers, I would hate for them to.
I do see Boimler and Mariner brought up a lot, and shouted down equally as often. But
yeah, that's one of those. It would have to be done very, very. That's a thread of the needle kind of situation. I mean, as a friendship, I think they're at least A tier. Like, I really enjoy their nerdy, geeky vibe. I kind of enjoy Beckett and Tendi together more, and I kind of enjoy Boimler and Rutherford together more because like they have that kind of like, especially with Beckett and Tendi, like they just have that fucking massively chaotic energy. You get to see Tendi's like Orion side come out more. Like Tendi and Rutherford are great. They're very, very stable and solid friends, but I feel like that's like an A tier thing.
No spoilers, but there's a great episode you'll like in I think it's season 4 Stars where Rutherford and Boimler have to share a room on the ship together long term, and they have to work. It's like,
I did see that. Yeah,
it's a great episode. I mean,
Rutherford wears flip flops, but his feet stink, so that's the whole thing. All right,
and Boimler wants to go on picnics.
I'll just go. I'm Switzerland. I'll go B because I know like they have good friendship moments.
They're great. They're great friends. Like, it's nice to have that.
Whatever.
I don't see anything that even belongs on this list here. They're two characters that interact in a Star Trek show. There's nothing romantic here. I don't understand this entry. Cartoons.
I needed something from Lower Decks.
Yeah, no, it's
so
all
that's
good.
why,
Let's stick it in C or D. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I'll stick at the end of the list if you want, and then we'll come back to it. We won't.
No, please don't. Just to throw in a tier idol.
C's fine with me. Go C.
All right, C.
Thank you.
Patel and Pike. Now, this woman.
I know you have a hate on for this.
This woman walks into Pike's world, eats his spaghetti meal, doesn't eat it, then complains the next day when he comes out with leftovers, even though this guy is a certified chef that can make magic out of nothing. He has a barbecue you can cook whole dinosaurs on, and she just doesn't eat his food and then waltzes out there? Nah.
Yeah.
Although
you hate it,
is that a D? I don't. I don't love it. I think they've got okay chemistry. I can definitely see the value in it. But again, we know they don't end up together. We especially don't know if like depending on season 2, that cliffhanger works out. We don't know the other side of it. It's fine. It's inoffensive to me. I don't have any strong feelings about it, but I don't massively love it either. If you took it out of the show, I think I would kind of notice, but I also wouldn't miss it. I feel like it'd be like a C for me. I just don't have any strong feelings.
Damn.
There's, it's a strong female counterpoint to him, like which I don't think is represented by anyone else in the show, other than possibly Una is the only person that could probably feel, not romantically, but just fulfill the same kind of like calling you on your bullshit lines. But I think she has too much admiration of Pike to kind of do that, or at least do that too much.
All right, Otto, go ahead. Tell us why this is S tier. I know you love these two.
Dude, I'm wondering if I should save my veto for Chakotay or use it now. Dude, it's so good. and it only gets better. Every episode they're in gets better than the previous one. Jeffrey Hunter could not pull this off. This shows a really human side of Pike that I love. She does the Measure of a Man Riker role in Ad Astra per Aspera, where she has to be the bad guy. She has to save Pike from
That's
himself.
probably the most I like her. That's probably the most I like her, when she's like really confrontational with him in the bar. I really appreciate that.
She in episode 10, the finale there, she is so good, a match for him, and she that's a role that women could not play in the past, and she can play this now. She's allowed to play this now. I love everything. Like, we go in the episode, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm really falling in love with Marie Patel. I'm like, if they kill her, I'm gonna be real mad. And then 5 minutes later, Gorn eggs. I'm like, oh fuck. So I really, really like this relationship.
What I do like about, especially, like, probably my favorite moment is the a private conversation, obviously. Not just because it's a hilarious song, not just because they do a great job on it, but also it reveals like a good flaw of Pike's diplomacy, which is that he shies away from confrontation, which is not often, I feel, like a flaw you see given to like strong like male authority figures. Like, he doesn't like confronting his feelings or awkward situations and having to come to a compromise in that sphere of his life. And I appreciate what it brings out of him. I just don't know if I love the dynamic, but I can appreciate how much you like it.
Also, at the end of what is it, 3, where she gives him that little medallion and it saves his life, and he has to apologize for being an ass, and they start that scene out. They're standing like 30 yards away from each other because she's upset at him, and then they slowly pull in. Just every scene they're in is so good.
Yeah, these are so. I wasn't expecting to like this relationship. It started out very meek. It was the whole setting for the show, I think, in the first episode was focused on these two. And so you start to realize what they're trying to do by presenting a long-term relationship and really speaking to their viewership now, where people are majority of people are meeting each other online now, and have to have this long-distance contact before they even get into the same place. And there's a tension there, and I think they play that off correctly. They're written correctly. The acting talent's clearly there. This is how romance really should be done in Star Trek, and they take their time with it. They stretch out the interactions over very long spaces between episodes, so you do get the feeling that this is a real long-term relationship.
They are and they aren't. I mean, like season 1, we definitely got the more impression that they're friends with benefits, because he obviously goes up to that planet, meets up with an old paramour, and does the dirty. So it's he's not mutually exclusive on that side, and I don't maybe until season 2.
He's still Captain Pike.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And I haven't seen the entirety of season 2, but in season 1 they made it extremely clear that they had a relationship and they had chosen to stop because they were both captains going on their own direction now, right? Or am I completely wrong about that? Maybe I've taken the wrong note.
Yeah,
they didn't say it. It was implied. It was implied.
Well, he does that. Is it end of season 1 or is it season 2 where he kind of says to her like, "This isn't going to work"?
That's season 2,
and she doesn't like that. Okay.
Yeah, they basically have a little lovers tiff, which suggests at that point it is a more serious one. But during season 1, it wasn't clear. I thought just a passing ships passing in the night.
She's not much of a presence in season 1. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But season 2 definitely had them as more of a permanent couple.
Anyway, this easily spoke to me as the most real and organic relationship that we've seen in a very long time in Star Trek. Except for that, it's got to be an A for me.
It's almost got like Sisko and Cassidy Yates vibes, because they're both captains on their own missions.
You know what? You're not wrong. You know what? You're talking me up to an A. You're talking me up to an A here. I like that one.
What?
I'll go with an A on this. I'll go with an A.
I'll say A as well. I'm happy with it. Dan, what do you say?
A.
He said A.
He said A. That's the A. Well, talking of stinkers, here's Worf and Deanna Troi.
So
you already used your veto, Stars, and here come all the Worfs.
Here's the thing. Guess what? I used it on the correct romance.
D.
No, it's not a D.
D.
Here's the thing. They have their share of really, really poor episodes. But I appreciate what she tries to be for him and what she tries to be for Alexander. And she's trying to bring.
Oh shit! I should
are you
feed my
playing
kids.
as Wolf there? Oh my god, he actually has to go feed his children.
No, that was a
Um,
direct Worf quote actually from Dan. So.
Like, here's the thing. They don't work together as a proper thing, but I don't think they're really intended to, apart from in all good things. I feel like the majority of the time it's just kind of like, this is convenient, this works out for both of us. We like each other, but there's never really an intimation of love between them. It just kind of feels like, we're trying this out for now. I think it ends really like limply. Like, generations happens and it's just not a thing anymore.
Wasn't the seed of this in Parallels, where they're married?
No, it's earlier
in
than that.
universe.
It starts in A Fistful of Datas, because like they basically have kind of like a date on the holodeck with Alexander, and it's like a kind of a family's day out type thing.
I did not read
Fistful of
that at
Datas
all.
like season 7. Wait,
I did not read that as romantic.
Mm.
Because Alexander brought it up. He said, "Oh, she likes the the ancient West. Let's invite her along." And Worf seems completely not thrilled with that.
I
idea.
always read that as Alexander trying to like get two people that he like. He trying to get his dad to date again, which guess what? I can relate to that.
It was in terms of timing. It was 7 in Chakotay, where you shovel it in at the end of a season 7, which I think even 7 Chakotay had more episodes with them together than Worf and Troy, but I didn't feel any chemistry with them, to be honest.
But no, I like their interplay. I appreciate that scene where I think he's asking her to become Alex's godmother, and she's like, "You do realize this would make Loxana like related to you?" And he just has this look on his
I
face.
had not considered that.
I am willing to take the risk. Like, come on, that's a fun little dynamic. And guess what? Parallels is a top tier episode. Like, I think Parallels is amazing. So
It's a solid episode.
I think like I would fight for a C on this. I think C at least. I know you guys are gonna shut me down with D, but
All
I
right,
don't know. I don't think it's
let's vote.
offensive.
D.
D.
Yeah, there it is.
It's D.
So the only thing I
Fair
have to
enough.
say about this is this felt like, okay, we have all these characters and they're in a ship in a bottle, and let's just see if they Tasha and Data and Beverly and Captain Picard. Let's just see if they bang and see what works with the viewers, and it just didn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. How about Mira, Kira, and real Kira?
What, did I put that one in there?
You did, yes.
Guess what? If Brody were here, if Brody had a veto, he would use it to make this an S tier. Because good God, like Mira Kira has never been more into anyone than she's been into herself. Like, good God, what a fucking narcissist! I love that dynamic.
Would that count as masturbation?
This is an age of masturbation.
All right. So, actually, believe it or not, my favorite thing about this relationship is how it's shot. They do really realistic, like split screens, and then they have the actors stand in when they're shooting over her back, and it's actually really well done for the 90s. So, I really like that about it.
Yeah, before the age of
It's
60,
not a
people
healthy
got really-
dynamic for anyone involved, but
No, it's a ticking time bomb. C, I guess. There's some intrigue for sure, but
guess what? You had to give like Nana Visitor like some props for being able to play off of herself in a romantic like thing, and it's like you kind of go, okay, like, and it's really risque for the 90s. Like, I don't like it's one thing to especially to have like the lesbian thing with Dets and Lenara Khan, but like between like yourself and your mirror universe self, like that's a whole other kettle of fish.
And that's season 2.
This I saw it when I was a young teenager watching this in syndication. I always gravitated. My eyes always gravitated towards Terry Farrell. She was the more obvious beauty, and I didn't appreciate Nana Visitor until after this episode when she was being so overtly sexualized. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, And then I realized, hey, this is doing something to my young 12 or 13-year-old self. So it was, but it really, the whole idea here is the comparison between the two, and it's just really a neat. I always love these. I love it when it was Kirk looking at his doppelganger and Marcia on on the River Penthe asteroid. And
it must be your lifelong ambition.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. So these mirror interplays are always great, and this one's great too. I like it as an A. It didn't go anywhere, but it's fun.
Hey,
yeah, you know what? I'll sign off that. I'll sign off on an A.
Okay, I can go A.
C, guys, it's not an A.
This awoke something in me.
It's not even a relationship between. It's not even a relationship between two people. It's between Mira Kira and herself, and the real Kira happens to be along for the ride. So
Alternate reality universe count as people. I'm sorry to tell you this.
also, I don't like any of the Mirror DS9 stuff at
Oh, I
all.
kind of do.
Oh, Brody would fight you. Brody would
Oh,
fight you.
sorry.
He needs to get on
All right,
the
but you
show
got to
and
put it
tell
at the
us then.
bottom of A then. At least put it at the bottom of A.
All right, fine. We'll compromise for the bottom of A.
It's a bold statement, man. The only thing I really hated about the Mirror DS9 was Bashir. He was awful in the Mirror universe,
Well,
but everybody else got that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that was just Prime Bashir.
There's Vantakar
Alright.
Bashir. All right,
up
Picard and
next?
Nella Darren.
Here you go, Stars.
I actually really like this relationship. It's a, and it's, you know why? Because it makes it so abundantly fucking clear that Picard has a type. Picard's type is
People
Himself.
Stark Beverly, but don't.
boxers. Yes, is like, you know, like middle-aged, very attractive, you know, like forthwith, independent, smart women who wear science blue. Guess what? It's a type. And it's a good type. It's a strong type. I think Lessons is a really strong episode. I really appreciate it for what it does. I think it does what for Picard's character a lot more naturally what Captain's Holiday was kind of trying to do, of opening him up to romance, of like making him seem more human. And I feel like Lessons does a much better job of that by exposing what that actually does to you in a command situation, and making you, because guess what, she's a one-off character. You know she's probably not going to stick around. So when there's the threat of death, you kind of believe it. She could
Yeah.
very well die.
Yeah.
So I'd have to go with.
I think if it was
feel like
DS9,
it-
she would have died too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would have died. She would have stuck around and then died probably. Given how DS9 went with its characters.
No, she'd be the marquee conspirator, so yeah.
I'm gonna have to fight for either an A or a B here, depending on how do you guys want to fight me on it.
The
Dude,
I like it a
you
lot.
just want to fight with every
Yeah.
romance.
Yeah, there was a real cute moment in
Romantic soul.
Lessons that speaks to me about the relationship where they under the guise of having better acoustics just climb into a Jeffries tube to
Yes.
play their
Yeah.
duet together.
Thank you.
But they
Yeah.
both really understood that they were just sneaking around. But this is the pretense they had, and that was
In his
just
own ship.
that was love. It was lovely. Um, this was such a sad episode, and she didn't have to
Mm.
die because it was a doomed relationship from the start. And I
For all
love Star.
intents and purposes, she
Yeah.
did die anyways
Yeah,
because she's
yeah.
removed from the situation.
Right. Yeah, I love star-crossed lovers, and this is a very old tale, but it was done well here. I think this is also an A.
I'll go A. Yeah, it's nice to see, like, I mean, this is sitting in those season 7 of TNG episodes. We're a bit like, well, we're wrapping this up now, so let's just have these little slice of life scripts. But it's nice to see Patrick Stewart's Picard in that era be a bit flustered by something, or be definitely like not in command of a situation, and having someone who is his junior officer now sort of being more his equal, and someone, the actress that plays Nella could definitely command that role very well. So yeah, I'll say A. I'm happy with an A.
So the big drawback here is it's too. I don't know, I won't even say that. It is very weighted in Patrick Stewart's side. Like everything is coming from him, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because that's what the episode is meant to be. You do get butterflies when he gets that gap tooth smile on his face when he's blowing the flute in the room with her. When he's on the
Somebody
bridge with
else's
Riker and
hands.
goes, as long as you
Somebody
enjoy
else's.
it, he pokes Riker's belly. Like, can you ever see Patrick Stewart poking Riker's belly? Because he's in such a good mood with her. And then, yeah, the whole episode is about the discovery of him and why captains can't have relationships and whatnot. A great conversation at the end where he says, I knew I could never put you in that position again. So it is a good relationship, but I feel like you could use any number of stand-ins for Nella Darren and have the episode play exactly the same. So,
Fair.
but I do think it's an A. I think it does absolutely can hold an episode on its own. So,
A.
and it does.
Riker.
I just like to hear myself talk because I agreed with all of your A's. So.
Riker and Rolaren.
Oh, dude, this is gonna be a fun one.
So this only
Ooh.
came about through what was the one where they
Conundrum.
phase, or no, change where they're out of
No,
phase.
Conundrum. They forget their
Oh,
memories.
that's right. But there was something in the phased episode.
The next phase.
Next phase, that's the one where they.
Well, there's some antagonism, but that's not a
Yeah.
romance thing. She shoots him in the head with the phaser, and No, so this is from Conundrum. They lose their memories, and when they have their memory completely wiped, and those two get together like off duty, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And one of them says, oh, maybe we could be lovers and we would never know it. And they had this little chemistry. And then by the end, when their memories are restored, Riker has to go there and eat shit in front of her and Deanna, and they make them, feel real childish. But it's more of a what could have been. Do you think these two Mavericks could have hit it off and
I think it could have been
or would have
fun.
been too combustible?
I feel like they would have had an amazing romance that would have flamed out epically.
Yeah, it would have been.
I feel like they would have been too much. They would have been.
Yeah.
Guess what? Just like how there is, I think they would have been a issue that they would have disagreed on. They would have both have been right, and they would have both just absolutely hated each other, and realized 20 years down the line that maybe it wasn't worth destroying one of the most fulfilling relationships I ever had with another human being or withdrawing, as it were. Over like an issue that maybe in hindsight doesn't seem as important, but guess what? That's the kind of people they are. They attach themselves to causes and become extremely passionate. So I don't know, for the potential, I have to feel like it's at least a B, maybe an A. Like I appreciate the chemistry is not what you'd really expect, like from those two, given how much they hate each other. But then again, I guess like the hate love dynamic is always it's time immemorial. But
Actually, I'm very
I
surprised.
never really got those
Yeah.
vibes off them until Conundrum came along.
I'm surprised on this list actually you don't have Riker and Shelby as well, because that's equally kind of a spark
No,
there,
that
but
was more antagonism than.
Yeah.
At least this they kind of actually. I think they hooked up at one point too. So
I'm happy
Thoughts,
to say
Dan?
B, but yeah, go on.
It's tough. This could easily be one of those, hey, let's see if they bang things, that I mentioned earlier, and it's just so I feel like this is actually more of a mirror because they're very similar. What I got out of the characters of Riker and Ro is here's one person that's constantly on the side of just being right in coin flip situations. And Commander Riker, he always just gets it right. His instincts and his gut always lead him to the correct answer to save this ship. And here's Ro, who is always on the losing end, makes the wrong choice with the Maquis, makes the wrong choice with with this episode, and it seems like she suffers only by the sticking to her convictions, but they're just wrong. And so I get another Mirror Kira vibe out of this thing, and it just isn't really given enough leg. It doesn't even last more than like the second act of the episode. So I mean, there's just not much here. So it's got to be like a C.
Right. In terms of potential, I'm going to give this an S because these are two of my favorite actors across generations. Every project I see these guys in, I really enjoy what they do. And I know that if they were written to be together, they would put entertaining stuff on screen that I would enjoy seeing because I always enjoy them. So I would love, like S tier, to see this. If you want to say based on what they put out material-wise, you can give it like a B or a C or whatever. I'm going to go S because I really would want to see this more than most of the other ones on this list.
Wow. So we've got spreads. We've got SA and a C, I think. Where's that sit? Does that sit A?
I went with a B. I went with a B.
Oh,
I'd say
maybe
so.
it's
It's got a pretty decent spread.
SA, B, C.
Because I feel like I agree with like Auto that there's a ton of potential here, but the fact that none of it is realized outside of like a third of an episode, like Dan says, like realistically, I had to give it a B.
Yeah.
B, I think it's fine.
Okay.
B.
Let's pop it in B. Sarek and Amanda.
I pick your flavor of Amanda here, but I went with TOS.
I don't like the TOS dynamic, honestly, because it's a little bit too. Like, I really hate the resolution to Journey to Babel, where it's like, oh, she's an over emotional female. Like, I fucking hate that.
She's hysterical.
I love them. Yeah, I hate that.
TOS.
Yeah, I know, but guess what? I can't divorce it from my feelings. I honestly much more appreciate the movie Zero, even when they're not together, because I just love Amanda in Voyage Home. Like Voyage Home does more for their relationship than anything else. I love them in Discovery. I actually really like their dynamic in Discovery. They feel like more of an actual family unit. I appreciate that she challenges him a lot in Discovery. It's interesting because like they are so often presented as like one or the other. You only get like Spock and Sarek or Spock and Amanda. It's so rare you get the three of them as a unit. Like Journey to Babel was probably the only time.
It's interesting because like you hear a lot of things from Sarek's perspective. Something like, oh yes, I have a human wife, and everyone's like, oh, that's the Vulcans treat it's like, oh, it's a bit of a novelty. But Discovery did a lot of work of having like Amanda's side of it. It's like, no, we fell in love. Like we found each other, a mutual respect in each other. Him for his Vulcan side, and me for my human side. And you can feel like they often have the battle between those, especially when it comes to raising their children, real and adopted. In both situations, so you're like, yeah, that this is a great relationship, and often, any relationship that has two conflicting ideals trying to work together but often battling each other makes great television. Like, and it's great storyline potential as well. So it's very easy to just have a couple that goes like, yeah, we're getting along, we're happy together, brilliant. But having, these guys, I kind of wish we see more of them. Like, I'd love a couple of episodes like on Vulcan, just a little slice of life. Here's how it developed.
I will also say, sorry. You go.
Finish your thought, and then I'll start something new.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if it's in the movie or not. I feel like it is. But that scene from 2009 where Kelvin Spock and Kelvin Sarek talk about her after she's died, and Sarek just straight up admits, "No, I loved your mother." Like that, I just kind of appreciated that actual vulnerability. I feel like Prime timeline Spock would have appreciated hearing that quite a bit more. That probably would have been a lot healthier for his mind and his dynamic and his relationship with his humanity to know that Sarek just unreservedly loved Amanda. But yeah, like I feel like Discovery's doing the heavy lifting for this relationship as it actually is. Like for me, if it weren't for Discovery, I'd be like, it's like maybe like a C. But I feel like Discovery drags it up into a B for me.
So was there a canon reason why we got a new wife in Next Generation in Perrin? So, or just because
died.
Do a recast and just bring out the same character?
Amanda's lifespan, I think. Yeah, because she was already.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because in that episode, I think is it called Sarek? They say he's almost 200 years old.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're right. Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Which there actually is a funny scene in that where Picard says, calls her Mrs. Sarek, and she says, "You can call me Perrin, Captain." Like, it's a good, reinforcement of no, we actually are separate individuals. I'm not just his aide. So
yeah, I guess maybe that's what I want. Then I want something different. I want to feel more acutely the fact that this is an alien relationship that is going to be the alien is going to outlive the relationship, and I guess maybe in all the different iterations it never really came across for me. So maybe a missed opportunity here. Probably a B.
Yeah, B.
B.
I don't. This relationship doesn't make me feel anything, but I think it does add a lot to Star Trek, especially Spock's story. So B.
Okay. Rom and Lita.
These two are cute.
Fucking
I'm sorry, they're just cute.
Yes,
they're very cute. It's got to be at least an A or an S tier. They're just fun. Like that bit in the Dominion War arc where they're brainstorming how to deal with the wormhole and all the Dominion reinforcements. And it's like, oh, Rom, you've solved it with the self-replicating minds. He's like, yeah, but I gotta work out what I'm doing for the wedding. Oh. Just,
Here's the thing.
He's just such a goober, and I like that. Guess what?
Yeah. No. Please, sorry. Continue. I'm talking over people.
I'm just a sucker for that Jessica Rabbit, Roger Rabbit dynamic of he makes me laugh. There's a little bit of that going on there, where it's like, no, it's not about the physical appearance. It's about
don't give me hope.
What you are and what you're like, and it's like, and I feel like the Dr. Bashir, I presume, episode does a lot of heavy lifting for this episode, for this relationship, where it's like. Like it's him screaming for her down the turbo, the airlock, and like you're pulling her away from Dr. Zimmerman's freaking nasty little clutches. Just they're cute. I like them. They make me smile when they're on screen together. That's always a good sign. Like yeah, I feel like an A or an S here.
This really could have been like a one episode joke. Like when Bashir and Lita split up, I think it was instantly like, well, I'm thinking about Rom, and like you could have been like, oh wow, that's a funny off thing. Bet we'll never see her again. But they actually did develop it to the shock of everyone, including like the characters. Like we're not quite sure, and not just that, it ended up being like a major political thing for the Ferengi Empire. The fact that it made Rom the Grand Nagus, and this comes to pay off in Lower Decks as well when we have the Rom and Lita cameo there. It's great. It's so off the wall, and they make it work, and they have their troubles, and we have the wedding episode, and we have the growth of these characters in a weird way. Like Quark's brother being the dim-witted bartender / amazing prodigy engineer was a move no one expected when we saw him in season 1 dragging his kid out of jail. Like it's so bizarre that it should be like it's S tier for me just because it's so unique and it's so good.
Here's the writers catering again to their clientele. Let's take the underdog here and give him the most beautiful girl, the most important role in the Empire, and everything. Yeah, no, this is like eating your dessert first at dinner, watching these two on screen. It's just best. So you gotta relax and love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll take an A on this.
I'll take it. I'll go S, but go on.
You said if it could have been a one-episode joke, it still feels like that way to me. I understand they put in the legwork. Doesn't land at all. I feel nothing for either of them. That's not true, Mex. Mex does some good stuff with Rom. When they're together, I don't feel anything for that relationship. It feels like the writers wrote it for whatever. C, don't enjoy it
Wow.
at all.
Well, guess what? We've outvoted you with the A's, so
Oh,
the
I'll
A's
go
have
S,
it.
but I'm gonna say that's probably A. So
I think that's gonna narrow
I'm
it
gonna
down
put
to
that
an
high A.
A.
Fuck it.
Okay.
Data and Geordie.
Bromance territory. All right, I'm
This
going to
is
go
one of those
first.
instances where I can
S.
read it either way.
It's
yeah.
S. It's S.
Oh, yeah, it's
This
S.
is one
Yeah.
of the healthiest, most supportive relationships in all of Star Trek. They have an easy warmth between them. You buy them as fast friends. You buy them as long-term friends. The stuff in the movies, the stuff in Picard. It's like when they were writing Picard, they knew, all right, no matter what, we need to get these two in a room and let them do something together. It's so easy, so comfortable. A fine, full, dignified beard. Everything they do, it just lands with me. So easy as.
A blind man teaching an android to paint, sure, that's got to be worth a few pages in someone's book. Like, they just work instantaneously. Like, from season 1, there's not a lot in season 1 that works, but these two have such an obvious, easy chemistry. I always think of that bit in the next phase when they're sitting on the shuttlecraft, and I think it's Worf and Data are talking about Geordi, and just the way that like Geordi looks at Ro as like Data is just expounding on how much he loved Geordi as a friend, just like the fact that you can elicit such warm feelings from a objectively artificial being speaks a lot to Geordi's essential like wholesomeness and warmth as a human being, like not counting his like bad brain. Guess what? This is his best romance as well, even if we're not going down that route.
It's got to be in their favor, right? That neither of them have a long-term relationship. They are basically each other's significant other for all intents and purposes.
Essentially, yeah. They're work husbands.
Wow, Sydney and Alandra, meet your dad.
I mean,
that's true, but
guess what? The amount that they probably Geordi probably talked about Data to his kids, like that probably happened. Like, yeah.
So some of the more memorable love stories are the ones where the genders figure out a fundamental truth about the other that they can only achieve through a close personal relationship, and so figuring out what women are thinking and what makes the man do the man thing and whatever, and all those gender roles. And so here we get something that's kind of similar, where we have somebody who's fascinated with cybernetics and engineering, and somebody who embodies that, and they spend much of their career not just going through adventures, but also figuring out something fundamental about each other. And it's just the most pure, innocent type of learning journey that they go through together. I could easily see them being portrayed as gay characters and being just the most relatable pair. It's an S tier relationship.
Yeah, I think we're easily putting it up there. High S. How about Keiko and Miles?
All right, I know where this is gonna go. And guess what? I actually have to stick up for Keiko here. I like Keiko. I feel like she does pretty decently considering the amount of bullshit gets thrown her way. Her fucking like the writing on DS9 does not always do her favors. Like, yeah, guess what? She's like an accomplished scientist in her own right. She's a botanist by trade. It's like, we don't have anything for you to do. You're gonna become the Western school mom because that's the story archetype we've settled on for DS9.
Like O'Brien even said,
it's not really
there
her
are ships
fault.
going through to the Gamma Quadrant. There's going to be new species of plants out there. They need an expert. It's like, now be a teacher.
Yeah, and then they never do anything with that. It's not really Keiko's fault, is it?
Well, that's true.
And it's like, I feel like they have a decent chemistry together. I feel like they kind of epitomize the like those relationships where like there's not a standout moment where they fell in love, and if you're around them, like they don't seem like they're in love all that much. But then there are the moments of connection, and I still think that one of my favorite O'Brien moments is in Rivals, in the racquetball episode, where she gives him the little headband,
I was
kisses
just
it,
gonna
says,
say that. Yep.
kick his butt. Like that justifies the entire thing for me. I'm not going to say they're one of my favorite relationships of all time because I feel like she does so often fall into the role of hectoring wife, which I don't think does like Rosalind Shout any kind of like
Twilight Zone writers that struck Keiko quite badly on that front sometimes. But
yeah,
the relationship,
I like
especially on DS9, feels like a story retold from a husband's point of view. Because whenever you hear someone's relationship story, if you only hear one half of it, of course the other person made this and this and this mistake because you're not hearing the other side of the story. And you know, he's dragging her.
This exposes how few female writers there were in the DS9 writer room.
You know, she has a life and ambitions and talents too, and they often get marginalized so that he can work on the shitty backwater Cardassian station, and that's not fair to her. But in terms of realism, S tier in terms of realism, like this is the realistic a long-term marriage kind of relationship that doesn't get on TV enough because it's not romantic enough and sexy enough, but it is very realistic, I think.
I think I love like.
I also have to go to. Well, there you go.
No, I think I love their dinner scenes. Like you often see like in DS9 where they're sitting around the table and they're talking. I love this little bit of sort of cross-cultural relationship. You know, I think is she Japanese or she is. Keiko is Keiko Japanese, yeah.
Yeah, because their marriage is very Japanese themed, I believe.
Yeah, it's Japanese themes, but also he does have his Irish roots and his Irish way of doing things. And they both, you know, he sits there eating dinner with chopsticks sometimes, or sometimes they're sort of something a bit more traditional. And it like you say, Otto, it feels like a real family, especially in DS9.
She is Chinese, in fact.
Chinese, sorry, yes. So
the actress or Keiko?
Yeah, Keiko is what I was asking.
The actress is.
I think we're talking about Keiko.
To that then.
A Chinese thing in her name, so yeah.
But yeah, no, I like, you know, like you said, Otto, it feels like a real family. Like this is kind of one of the few occasions in Star Trek where it does. You see them eating dinner together, you see them having marital arguments or like domestics, as it were. And it's
oh wow. Yeah, so she played a Japanese character. Keiko is explicitly Japanese, so well done, Japanese.
Well done,
yeah, well done on that. Apparently she was originally considered for the role of Tasha Yar.
Really? Wow.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think?
I think the only person that suffers more than O'Brien is Keiko, and so she suffers from a number of really boring subplots, and this is the nature of their relationship. That she is the school teacher, which doesn't play well in a science fiction epic, and she's the botanist. So we got some exciting plant action in the Infinite Vulcan, I think, in TAS. But apart from that,
problematic plant.
Like, where is she going to really go on adventures here? So, it's the contrast of Miles getting put in every unimaginable situation possible, and then her just kind of holding down the fort at home. And
she does get taken over by a Pyrath at one point, but.
I was going to say, that's proof that if you ever need it, that she can act really well.
Yeah. I mean, she's been Rosalind Chow is amazing because she's actually been in the Three Body Problem, a recent series, sort of playing sort of an aging sort of geneticist scientist, and she's amazing in that. She's really good. Like where she.
Yeah, I understand. We need insight, especially in a station where people are permanent tenants, where there's mature adult relationships and families there. It not only raises the stakes for the series when there's a base takeover like there is every other episode, but also it just gives us a sense that these are real relatable people, and I think this is a sleeper S tier. This needed to be shown, even though it didn't really come across.
I'll go along with an A tier.
I'll say yeah.
But I will say that I would upgrade it to an S tier if we had gotten what I always thought should have happened, which is that weird polycule of Keiko, O'Brien,
and
Kira, and then add Bashir on as well. And I feel like that four.
No, I love it. Isn't it that meme? It's like, here's my husband, here's my husband's boyfriend, here's my husband's boyfriend's boyfriend, because there's Garak.
yeah. It's a weird little pot. DS9 is very weird like that.
You got to put it ahead of Ramen Leda for me, please. It's much better than that.
Okay, fine. Tasha and Data. So
Um,
here's my problem. Here's my problem. Like, the current meme is like, obviously the bang of the ship. It's a critical TNG romance. There wasn't really any of that. They had one awkward encounter,
was
an
not a
awkward
romance.
look, and then
It's
suddenly that was
not,
expanded
yeah.
into like he was her lifelong romance. Like,
I mean, they try and spin it as she's the one that got away. It's like, well, I guess in
Yeah.
a way that's technically true, but
especially
like,
in Yes,
do they
Today
even share a
Enterprise.
romantic? Yeah, do they even share a romantic moment outside of the naked now? I
Not
don't
at
feel
all.
like they do.
And that's
Yes,
even a
so-
one night stand. That was purely biological, or trying to emulate the biological, and so this comes down to Data's struggle with why he doesn't feel for
Mm.
somebody that he thinks he should have feelings for, but in reality, nobody would have feelings like this for a one night stand. And the amount that he pines over her is inordinate. And the whole thing, the fact that it comes up so often, even doesn't it come back in Picard even?
Yes, it
Yeah, I
does.
think
yes.
there's like
I
a
think
even
you
a
see a
provision
little
there
hollow
for it.
picture, yeah.
Yeah.
So and especially for an actress that voluntarily left the series, why are they paying her so much service when she turned her back on Star Trek? I'm down on Denise Crosby, by the way. I know that y'all appreciate the character of Yar, but the actress I could care less for. This is D tier for me. I don't get it. I don't get why we are bringing it up so often.
I'm gonna stump up for a C just because I think that this would actually work better without the romantic angle. And like the positioning of her as just a friend that he'd lost and the first one that he has to grapple with that loss with. Like I still think that the end of Skin of Evil, where it's like, we were all talking about Tasha, and the only thing I could think of was how much I'm going to miss her while she's gone. Did I miss the point? And Picard's like, no, Day, you got it. It's like that's a strong moment, and like that works with her. But I don't feel like you would have needed the romantic angle. But the romantic angle kind of works against it because it feels so tonally inconsistent with what you're going for there. So I feel like a C grade for me.
That's I'd say C as well. I think
This feels like Garrick Zial and sort of the relationship itself like sucked, but what it did for Data's arc, I think, was, and I agree it's inordinate, but the fact that they actually put in the legwork, like in Measure of a Man, why do you keep these things? Why are they important to you? Well, because they remind me of her. So,
He had a reason to remember Lal, and that never got brought up again.
well, yeah, but that's more of a serialization issue with television in general. So whatever. I like the little Data moments where he's remembering her, but that's about all I like of it. So I would go B, but y'all in C, that's fine.
C, yeah. How about the power couple Tom and B'Elanna Torres?
Okay. I adore these two. I would not have anticipated these two getting together.
It's the
I
Chandler
feel like
and
they
Monica
do
moment
occasionally.
of Friends, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah. And like they absolutely fall into their silly little moments of just American sitcom bullshit. But B'Elanna is allowed to exist as a Klingon woman enough that doesn't happen, and I start to sour on them. And my favorite moments for them are Day of Honor, where they actually admit their feelings to one another. I felt that's a really strong B'Elanna episode. I really enjoy that. And Lineage, I believe it's Lineage, the episode where she's struggling with her.
Dude, I just
genetic
watched that
identity.
one. I can tell you right now, when we track it, I will not feel qualified to discuss that topic. It is super, super heavy. She wants to genetically
Super
modify
heavy,
her
yeah.
child. He's locked out of the room. It's fucked up in a way, but it's very interesting to watch.
It's very real, like that kind of self of your own self and of the parts of yourself that you always wanted to try and take out of what happens when you try and put that on your kid. Like, that's powerful. But I just appreciated Tom a lot in that episode because he's just like, what if you're stuck in a room with two Klingon women? It's like, well, then I'll love them both, and I buy it. I believe it because they put the work in to make them feel like a relationship that works. And of all the weird things that they tried to graft onto Tom Paris's character, the Janeway fucking romance, the lizards, the Jules Verne, all these
Jules
that they try to attach onto him. This one feels like the most organic growth and the one that makes the most sense. And you don't see it originally, but it works. It works for me. I would have to put this as a solid A tier for me. I like them a lot.
I will go higher. I will say I'm happy this is an S. This is a fully fledged relationship.
I'll happily hit for a S. I think I had to fight for this.
From start to end, because I think it was the moment in, I think it's Day of Honor, when they're in the EV suits floating in space, and they connect EV suits, and she finally admits after, and he wasn't, he started off being a bit of a sex pest about it in the way Tom Paris usually is, but you got her feelings, you got his feeling. Well, a little bit, not as
That's
much.
a little strong though. For him. He's hitting on her, but he's not a sex pest.
Okay.
He has a healthier dynamic with her than he ever had with Cass.
I use that in the season 1 Paris sort of debate, where you see him first introduced and like what people's expectation to think, oh right, this is where this character's going. But I think like that when I watched that on TV for the first time, that kind of opened my eyes to, but like, okay, like relationships work two ways. Like this isn't just sort of like a, you have to be the one person putting yourself out there, like both of them coming together in desperate situations to say like, hey, this is who we are and like what we're doing. And you see this relationship go full circle on every situation you can imagine. Like one of the few moments in Star Trek, especially Voyager, where there is direct serialization. You see them, coming together. You see them having the ups, the downs, the marriage, the baby, and everything. Like it's. And it works. Then they are two, again, like I've said it before, they are two very conflicting characters. Tom is the, fly by the seat of your pants, smarmy, pilot, and she is the headstrong, half Klingon engineer who just wants to fight everyone. And her in her most vulnerable moments, especially when you get to her dealing with the, the death of the Marquis, and her, her sort of, coping with that, seeing at her most vulnerable, like B'Elanna at her most vulnerable. It's kind of like the La'an situation, it's very headstrong people that have these, hidden depths, and it's just so good to watch. So I'm definitely going to advocate for S.
I abstain. I haven't seen enough of Voyager to be able to properly give this an evaluation, so I defer.
Yeah. I was going to say, does that wash the taste out of your mouth from the last one? But I guess not. I'm surprised you didn't mention the episode Drive. This was my go-to move.
Drive's really good as well.
When the wife is upset, you shut everything down, and she is your whole world, and you have to reinforce that, and you have to remind her of that. And so I love that move. I love that episode. She doesn't give a shit about the race, but she wants to do something with him, a group activity. It's really good. It's the most genuine Robbie McNeil is. It's among the best for Roxanne. So S, easy S.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, easy.
I'm glad I don't have to fight too hard for this because I love this relationship.
Bashir and O'Brien.
Man. You'll be able to speak to the wonderfulness that is an Irish and a British man managing to be friends.
Well, it depends what part of Ireland, really. I'm pretty sure he's Southern Irish. We might be fine. We'll be okay.
Yeah, you don't talk about Northern Ireland. I love these two. Like, God, they fucking hate each other so much in season 1. Like, is it the Armageddon game where they're both sitting in the run? Oh yeah, well, yeah. Guess what? The feelings are not reciprocated. Yeah, like that bit in Armageddon game where they're just like, he just will not shut the fuck up, and O'Brien looks like he's looking for the transport control to beam him into space. But then they grow through it so much, and then you get to the point in like, what was it, season 5 or 6, where Keiko's like, you're both depressed, go out and do something. I know I can't fix the situation. This is something only you two can work out. Like, I love that dynamic. They're great.
They make the time for each other. And they make that very clear, and that's something that's very rare, especially with the world falling apart on a weekly basis around you, but they still manage to get into a raft or get into a World War II fighter plane or whatever they and it's clear that each of them they come together, but they're trying so many different things, even just darts. They've all tried something, and they found that they can just enjoy being around each other, and I really envy that. I love that they can show a bond between two men like this and just have it be what it is. It's fantastic. It's an A tier.
Although O'Brien's complete betrayed face when he finds out Bashir's been augmented all this time, and they go to play darts again, it's like, no, you go over the other side of the bar. Like, you stay over there. That's your punishment for lying to me.
Still, again, making it work.
True.
Yeah.
I prefer Data and Jody for bromances, but O'Brien and Bashir are closer to the bromances that I have. Like my relationship with Sven grew mostly over drinks and dinner and drinks and drinks. And if we had a holodeck, we would be out flying ships in that too. So, it doesn't feel quite as comfortable as Data and Geordi because it is a little bit more based on antagonism, but it is very real. I like it a lot.
Data and Geordi is very intimate. There's a physical intimacy between them when
because he's
Geordi's
working
operating on Data. Exactly right. Yep, literally getting inside his head. These two,
missing some memory
bromance.
engrams. Oh, there they are.
I'm shocked. Although we never really had an O'Brien like surgery episode or something where Bashir his life is in Bashir's hands.
That's true.
Surprised they never
You
went
know
there.
what? We actually kind of had it the other way around because you have what is it, invasive procedures like that Sloan Section 31 episode where they go inside his head, and it relies on O'Brien pulling Bashir out because he's getting too into his own head, too obsessed with the secrets. He's falling for the trap that Sloan set for him. He's like, "No, motherfucker, we got what we're going for. Let's go." A little bit of that Indiana let go moment from Last Crusade, and I really appreciate that moment between them. So you don't get the typical surgery thing, but I appreciate that that entire episode is good for them alone. Like that's kind of what you watch the episode for.
Are we saying S?
Low end of S, I feel like.
I'd be
I don't
fine
like
with
it
that.
as much as Geordie and
I think it's a little overrated, but
Ooh. I prefer. I prefer. What do I prefer? I don't know. I think I prefer them the same. I don't know.
The fact that you have to think about it means I feel like they're on the same.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll put them a mid A. Hey, I like this one. Quark and Grilka.
we can go pretty quick on this one because
Yeah.
there's a lot left. I don't know if we'll finish it today, but all right. All I'll say, the reason I put this in there, when I think about not healthy is the wrong word. When I think about relationships, what makes them tick is it makes one half want to be better. Jack Nicholson, you make me want to be a better man. Quark puts himself on the straight and narrow. He puts in the work to do the right thing by her, to get her what he wants. And I appreciate that inspires Quark in that regard. So I think it has a kernel of something good in it.
I think the best part about this, the whole episode is a great little farce and a great little and again another Odd Couple moment, like things I love to watch. But I think it comes to its true resolution in the following episode where she turns up in looking for the Parmark in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
And obviously Worf's doing his thing, and he's like she's with the Ferengi, and you kind of see their interaction on a mature level, and you see them gone past this kind of this adolescence, and you see them working together on a more, she has more of a respect for him as a Ferengi, obviously for saving her house. But it is a great little evolution of that relationship, and that's we see that you see the proof and you see the pudding. Like it's great.
This episode, without going anywhere at all, seeks out the new life and the new civilizations that we want to see. We want to see the cultural interplay, and what happens when characters we recognize. We haven't met Grilka before, but we recognize the Klingons and their way of life and what the clash results in. We've seen it before when Picard becomes the Chadich and has to really immerse himself in the Klingon civilization and how he navigates that in his own way. And here we see Quark doing it too. But that said, it's a bread and butter episode, and this is a B tier relationship for me.
I want to cut in. That's actually my second favorite Worf moment of all time, where Picard says, "I'm not going to let you execute yourself," and he goes, "The Chadich will be silent." And this is like, Picard is the only man who can get Worf to toe the line consistently, but in that moment, Worf was the man and Picard was the second, and he believes it. He's a true Klingon, so he's like, "Shut up, this is my house." That was so good. So I really liked that.
It was very good.
And Worf controlling the Batleth, where he almost pulls Quark's arm out of his socket, is hilarious. So I'm also on board with B. I'll go B tier.
I'll go with a B on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I love
Fine.
looking for Parmac in the wrong places. It's great.
I'll put it a mid B. Shall we do two more and then we'll call it because it's getting on. So.
Oh, don't call it.
Yeah, got it, because we're going to be here till 1 in the
gonna have to-
morning.
We're gonna have to split that butter in half. I'm sorry, guys.
We'll split the butter in half. We'll do it too.
Wait, no, we're doing three more.
Okay, we're doing 3 more. Okay. Oh no, that's fair. Okay, fine. How about
For reasons.
I have to ask: do vetoes reset between tiering sessions?
No.
Well, we'll decide when we get there. How about Kai Wynn and disguised Bajoran Dukat?
Oh god. Oh, these two.
There's
Even the
something
characters are disgusted by them.
You look familiar. You look someone I used to hate.
This
There's
reminds me
something
of the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, and somebody suggests, "Oh, we have to get these two together." And Spengler says, "No, I think that would be extraordinarily dangerous."
They're a great villain couple, but like I don't know, like the fact that they had, I didn't feel like they had to have sex. I didn't feel like that was a necessary.
It was terrible. I
addition.
hate this.
Dude.
Like DS9 is great, but this latter end of DS9 when they had him as a Bajoran, just no, I didn't like that part at all.
Okay.
I loved to hate it. It was, if you're gonna roll around in the slop with the pigs, go all the way, dude. It was guilty pleasure in like the most guilty way. I like the fact that they both thought they were playing each other.
Mhm.
You know, they both thought they were in control, and it was so, you feel gross watching. You need to take a shower after, but it was entertaining and compelling with two good actors. Oh, it was
So
good
what's
for all the
your
wrong reasons.
Oh, you found your king. Villains.
I'd go A personally. Like it was short. It didn't overstay its welcome, which I enjoyed, and it was,
I felt it just for those last moments of DS9, there was screen time I would have rather had elsewhere, or at least in a different format with Gul Dukat and Kai Wynn, like two of the biggest villains of the franchise. As not where I did want them to go, but
I'm on C.
What's that
here.
ring?
Yeah.
Letters.
Done with that.
What's that? Yeah,
I say D.
what's that? I think we're gonna equal that to a C here. Yeah, like I feel like I want to see. I don't hate it, but like yeah, I can see the toxic appeal. I can definitely see the toxic appeal.
I never liked stuff like that, but these two are just,
Hmm.
it was good.
You should watch Game of Thrones. Anyway, the Doc and 7 of 9.
All right, I know me and Otto are gonna fight on this. Let me make my case first.
Get in there.
I do not think these two would be a healthy relationship. Because it ties back into what Dan was talking about in terms of like power dynamics. But I'm a sucker for Pygmalion. I'm a sucker for the teaching of social norms, and there has never been a moment that has made me smile quite as much as when they start singing "You Are My Sunshine" together. Just like the most basic aesthetic pleasure of just two wonderful singers coming together in that moment, and that the way that the Doctor looks at Seven, like the idea of looking at someone who you'd never even considered as a romantic option, and then thinking, no, this kind of makes sense. Because I empathize with that. I don't know if I've ever told the story about how me and Brody got together, but like we were friends for the longest time, but because of his anxiety, he didn't feel comfortable telling me himself that he loved me, so he had to tell someone through a friend of mine. And
That sounds
the
like my
instant she
breakups.
told me, well, I have a healthier life, thankfully.
Not wrong.
Yeah. And the instant she said, "Oh, Brody's in love with you," I was like, I had to think about it. I was like, this is not an option I'd ever considered. And then I thought about it. It's like, no, this makes sense actually. And I was like, no, I think I love him too. And I think I see a little bit of that in that moment. But I would not want this for a long-term relationship for either of them because of the power dynamic. Because the Doctor is so much more of a like socially developed being. I don't feel like there's like equal power dynamic here. I feel like it's probably like a B or an A for me. I don't know. But as a friendship, guess what? It's S tier. I feel like as a seeing them on screen, their chemistry is incredible.
Automaton 2000.
That's my feeling.
This is a D tier. This is actually, because I recently rewatched starting season, actually starting from 7 joining to the end. Doc is creepy. He's gross. He abuses her body twice in the same episode, one getting drunk, the other getting sexually aroused. He bets on her with another crewmate as to how competent she can be. He's drawing her nude, which, okay, fine, we all have fantasies or whatever, but that one was creepy. There was like 6 or 7 moments where it's like, if you respected her at all as an individual, you would not behave this way. And so for him to be creepy, and then almost all the attraction is one way. She shows a little interest here and there, kisses him on the cheek as a quote platonic measure. It's him fantasizing about being with her. But when he has the chance to like step up and do like the noble thing or the healthy thing, he usually chooses to do the opposite. And it actually has lowered my opinion of the Doc character, which I love Picardo, but the way they wrote him to you know be inappropriate around her or in her, as it were, is just not good. I don't find that healthy at all. So yeah, D. Great friendship though. Well, good friendship.
I wonder if Seven, saw something in him as a permanent fixture, so therefore stable, male that wasn't gonna go away like her parents were taken from her, and so maybe that's the element. But again, you're just playing on an imbalance of power, and that also makes it kind of creepy in a different way entirely. Yeah, I mean, I guess this wasn't long term, so I haven't gotten too deep into Voyager, but I remember this, and it didn't really hit right for me. It's probably a C.
I'd probably agree with a C. I like the
I think that's
storyline.
just the issue, yeah.
I like the storyline of the Doctor in his sentience infancy, trying to work out what love is, and we've all been there as a kid. Like you get some crush, it is a crush, isn't it? And they think like they're the one and everything like that. And this is kind of like, this is where I'm going to put all my effort and energy in. That being like a one-note storyline works well enough, but I feel like they make it more professional later on, and thankfully they don't kind of revisit it too often, or at least make it a central theme for their character arc. So I could see C. This was a bit of flavor. It wasn't the best flavor.
The scene at the end of Virtuoso where she writes in the fan mail is like, there's a
That's cute.
lot of little that, and someone to watch over me. There's a lot of really strong friendship moments, but it just was not suited well for more than that.
I can understand that, yeah. It's literally just because of that personal resonance with me that I like that romance, I think. But yeah, I don't think I would have wanted it for either character for a long-term thing, or even a short-term thing. I like the idea of it more than anything else.
Interestingly, for the same reasons we've set it with Tasha and Data, so I feel like there's similar parallels there. Finally, for tonight, how about Janeway and Chakotay?
Detail.
Y'all can vote whatever you want because it ain't gonna matter. That's all I have to say.
Nah, here's the
I smell a veto.
Here's the thing. My personal ship for this is actually Janeway and Seven. I actually like Janeway and Seven as a dynamic. I understand that's got all kinds of fucked up power dynamics. Guess what? I don't really care. The chemistry between them is such. But Janeway and Chakotay just makes sense. It's like one of the few times you'll ever see freaking Robert Beltran actually come alive on screen is when he's interacting with her. Their dinners I really enjoy. Shattered is incredible. Shattered is such a good episode for them. I actually really enjoyed them in, is it Relativity as well? I think that they have some moments as well. I think, is it Relativity, or am I thinking something
Not
else?
so much
That's
that
the
one.
Braxton episode, isn't it?
No, I think it's, there's one other one I'm thinking of.
There's the one where they go down to the planet with the phage virus or whatever, and they spend
Yeah,
all
that's
the
what I'm
time
thinking of,
together.
yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's
What's
kind
that
of the
called again?
closest it got.
Yeah.
Like the entire
Resolutions, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
I think,
resolutions. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know why I thought, because they're both RE letters. I like Janeway and Chakotay. I think that's an easy A. Easy.
show. I just wish it had been given the time it deserved. Like if there could, and again, the failings of Voyager is they didn't play the marquee angle long enough. They definitely could have had a lot of. They could have. This could have been Tom and Paris. Tom Paris and Polana. Sorry, Taurus. Yes, Tom and Paris. That.
Tom's ego
yeah.
is such.
Yeah, this could have easily been Tom and Balana. Like in terms of like main cast romances, like they could have had their differences. He could have been the hothead and she could have been the calm one with slight genocidal tendencies. But they kind of played it too safe and they played it too serialized. I think episodic. And the episodic thing killed it because one week he was just interested in her, next week he was flirting, and then all of a sudden, no, she's with some guy who turned up on a big spaceship threatening to take all the aliens that are in her transporter buffer for no real reason. But or she's falling in love with a holodeck character who's not offensive but mostly forgettable. It just
How dare
wasn't.
you, dude?
Is
I
he in
love
this list?
Fairhaven. Yes,
he in
he
this
is.
list? Yeah,
Michael
okay.
Sullivan and Janeway are on the list for next time.
Okay. But yeah, it just wasn't given the time to explore, and when they did explore it in Resolutions, it was too early, and it was rushed. I feel wasn't given the payoff.
This relationship makes about as much sense to me as if Picard and Riker hooked up.
Well,
no one's ever written that ship. I'm sorry.
All right, let me go check AO3. Hang on.
I think they've done every combination possible.
Well, that's the worst, and this one just doesn't.
I saw a Seven and Shaw one the other day. There's everything. Sorry, carry on.
Anyways, no, I don't have much to say. It just, it felt silly, contrived, not for me. D tier.
It's a silly place, says Dan.
I'll probably put it.
Right, it's an S.
I think maybe they had compatible equipment.
He's got his veto.
Yeah.
There it is.
All right, so A, it would have prevented the Chakotay 7 relationship, which apparently everyone hates, but I don't.
Yeah, everyone.
B,
You're a widow.
there's nothing gross or icky with the power dynamic. He's under him, whatever made up Starfleet rank they gave him, but they're both captains, so that would have been fine. There's so many moments where he is her conscience and she needs to listen to him and she doesn't because she's the captain. And just a couple times I think she like relieves him of duty or threatens to. And I feel like if they would have been a couple, she probably would have listened to him. And I'm drawing a little bit on personal experience because I had a wife who, when she got ahead of steam, look out. But she would listen to me. She would be tempered by someone she trusts on that level, which you can't, you sort of have with first officer captain, but this is another level above that. So I think it would have helped mellow out Janeway when she needed to be mellowed. I just think it fits in a lot of ways. The Resolutions, their chemistry is really good. They can meet in loggerheads. It's just I like watching both of them act from every angle. It does work for me. So this is my one veto because I know I'd have to use it on Chakotay. This is my best what could have been.
And
you know what? I have to add one point onto your thing, which is what I think is really important in a relationship is they make each other better. Like you say, he is her conscience in many ways, and she is his call towards, not throwing his life away on a kind of pointless cause, and toward the counterbalance between his spiritualism and her science is always a fun little thing to play out. They make each other better, and that is a good relationship dynamic.
Whenever they're on the bridge and they lean together over that weird console in the middle and whisper to each other, I'm always like, yeah, this is the good stuff. So
it's just easy, eh?
These tiers are almost completely balanced. I really like this. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Yeah. So we've got lots of. We'll schedule another battle zone and we'll carry this on.
If we didn't waste time on watermelon, we could have finished.
Or print screen this so that we don't lose our progress.
Oh, we won't. I think this will be saved. So, but
by the way, there's a relationship there in the bottom right, which I'm looking forward to getting to at some point.
Spock and T'Pring, yes. Let's get there. Oh, hang on, you can't say
that. Yeah, there's some
not
stuff
quite
there.
That one.
Spock and Chapel.
Stamets and Calder. You'll have to tune in next time to find out.
Yeah, on the Butter Zone.
Next time on Star Trek: The Butter Zone.
Too buttery, too furious. Right, I really need to go to bed.
Best of both butter worlds.
Best of yes, thank you. Well done.
Riker comes into frame. Slather.
it's Mr. Worf. Pause. Slather.
That's it.
Well, we'll be back on Wednesday.
Overtime has a question. How do you export this to a spreadsheet?
I think you can save. You can download on what is it, tiermaker.com. So
yeah. And if you're a Big Book Plus subscriber, you can. There is an export function for that. You can get that straight to Sheets.
It's Control-Alt-Delete. Yeah.
Join us Wednesday. We're going to be playing Harbinger again. DS9's.
I'm going to be playing Harbinger. I imagine
you're going to be playing Harbinger. Yes, I'm going to be watching gleefully, watching you point and click adventure. So it's good fun. And then Thursday, I think also we'll come back together to play some Portal.
We are.
We are. That's what we agreed on Sunday.
Did we? Okay.
Saturday. Sunday.
Was it? No, sorry. When did we do? We did that earlier in the week.
You might want to put that in events.
Oh, Binary Ribbit. Thank you.
Red alarm.
Oh, you
and
just missed all the fun. Go
you
back
missed all
watch
the
the
fun,
one.
but you've come for the best promo of all, because on next week at this time we will be doing our charity show. 1 week today, our long charity show extravaganza. I literally finished an interview last night with a load of Star Trek addicted Jeopardy fans. It was great fun. I'm going to be editing that into a nice little
One of
segment.
which has been on Star Trek multiple times,
Yeah.
so you may recognize him.
Yeah, we've got interviews, we've got games, we've got fun things, we've got giveaways, we've got prizes to be won, all that kind of stuff, and we're all doing that in name of the World Central Kitchen. So please come along and join us for that amazing night's worth of entertainment. But on that note, any further buttery goodness, gentlemen? Or shall I just go to the outro?
I think we should limit ourselves to one tearing thing from now on, because I enjoy the part where we also don't tear.
You're not wrong.
Let's do the part where we don't tear. Okay, all right. I need to go to bed. No, guys.
Bye, guys.
Ta-ra.
It's all set.
What's all set?
I got Hooker lined up with a dude who's gonna give him the deal of a lifetime on a new Porsche.
A Porsche?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you should wait. You might get a better deal through the state.
Yeah?
Yeah, we just did some story on a guy who's selling stolen Porsches off a lot on Main. Real sleazy character.
What's his name?
Delvin, Kelvin,
Melvin?
Melvin?